Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome tonight. I want to call to order for the Committee of a Whole meeting of the Board of Education, February 4th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. in the boardroom of the Administration Building at 70 Conover Road, Colts Neck, New Jersey. Mr. Masco, can I please get a roll call?
Yes, you may. Mrs. Camera?
Here.
Mrs. Horowitz? Present. Mr. Arrico?
Here.
Mr. Rignetta?
Here.
Mr. Scales?
Here.
Mr. Scarpa?
Here.
Mrs. Volpe?
Here.
Mr. Walsh? Here. Mr. Wickberg?
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, this meeting has been duly advertised in the Asbury Park Press in a schedule of meetings dated January 23rd, 2026, notice of which has been filed with the Deputy Clerk for Colts Neck Township, and the requirements of posting of notices have been met. At this time, if we could please rise for the flag salute and the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Okay, I'd like everybody to take a moment to look over the one information item there. All right, when we're done with that, we're going to move right in this evening to comments from the public. At this time, if anybody wants to share some comments, they could do so. Just state your name and address for the record. Yep, come on up, Mr. Brian O'Brien.
Kevin O'Brien, 18 The Enclosure. I read yesterday about the article in the about the school bus and the cameras. So I wanted to reach out and compliment all of you for a job well done. From what I've read and what I understand, the safety features are something that's needed. I didn't realize the number of tickets that are out there. I don't think the general public does. So I wanted to compliment the police department as well for their working with you in concert. And hopefully you can take that same message and bring it out to either an educational session such as the police night out and exhibit the bus, or do something with the grade school children if you've got a, I don't know whether you still do the general classroom sessions, but a presentation to the kids. Let them go be the educators to their parents. You'd be surprised what goes on at the dinner table. The other thing that I wanted to follow up on, at the town meeting, there was mention of a declaration of a critical school capacity. So I didn't quite catch all of it. We got a little brief period of it, but it made reference to involving the state, the county, and the unions. So you got some pretty heavy lifting if that's the case to go do. I know the overcrowding issues and aging infrastructure is a real big issue in the inner city, and there was estimates of $6 to $7 billion in backup. So I'm not sure how you folks get to the front of the line, or how you work your way or navigate through that approach. But I'm sure with your magic and your ability, you'll find a way. So I look forward to reading about that as well. So my compliments to you and your team on taking the proactive steps. I'm just curious, is there anything that the town government can do in support of you? Or is there anything residents such as myself can offer in assistance? Please feel free to let me know if you do. You have my phone number and my email, I'm sure by now. I'm just curious, how many more students can you absorb before you exceed capacity standards? I know when I read about Livingston being at 37% over capacity at the current time. The other one was, how do you address that with the unexpected growth from affordable housing challenges? But I know somehow you're going to be able to pull that elephant through the keyhole. So thanks for your time.
Mr. O'Brien, if you don't mind, I just want to address you. We always like to have a little bit of communication with the public when they come. Mr. Walsh, I don't know if you want to comment on anything with the bus. I'd like to, since that was your initiative with Mr. Scarpa, if you want to add to that.
The kids are the first one to tell a school bus driver to hit the button. They're acutely aware of people that pass the school buses. Our kids' safety is number one. So it's a tool that I'm glad we have installed on all our buses, and it's a tribute to our whole school board, not just me and Brian. And it's proven to be very effective. But some people just don't care. They'll just try to pass that school bus, and now we hold them accountable. And the police department, I have to say, has been really great. School bus drivers themselves are fantastic with that technology. So, like I said, if it can save one accident, one student, it's worth all the money in the world. Thank you for recognizing that.
I didn't know whether the violators, are they young students, seniors, 17, 18-year-olds, or are you getting a mix with adults as well?
Doctor, you can answer.
Yeah.
I don't really know the age, Kevin, to be honest with you. I know that we have other
Yeah, I
age
don't know that we have that statistic available. We've had,
I think a lot of them are adults.
yeah, I don't have that information readily available, but I do know that there have been 8 tickets. There's been more caught, but there are currently, and I think this is the work that we were talking about with regard to government advocacy, with regards to there are requirements for us to be able to, for them to be able to issue tickets if there's not 3 criteria met. Just, be able to see the driver, the make of the vehicle, and the license plate, the 3 criteria. So we've captured numerous violations since the installations, but there have been 8 successful tickets issued as a result of that. So, and some of it is just the travel, which is scary. The speed at which they're traveling causes some issues related to the picture and grasping of the pictures, because the pictures themselves are extremely clear. They really are, but it's still movement. So we do our best, and the police works in tandem with our transportation department to do their best to do the best identification that they can. And if not being able to do that, they also are responsive to returning to the scene of the alleged crime and watching for the potential for the vehicle to strike again. And so that partnership is invaluable. That's something that, we so very much appreciate in support of this initiative.
So again, coming back, the article should help, I hope. If you do an educational seminar to the seniors.
You standing here helps.
Well, that's kind of why I'm here. The more I talk about it, the more people at home are going to realize about it. But my compliments to you. And again, if you go back to News 12 and you get them to do a story, now you're not just benefiting our community, but you're helping educate and inform other residents who enter our community and in other communities where they have school buses as well.
Mr. O'Brien, thank you very much for this comment and taking the opportunity to speak. We are also reaching out to other municipalities in the area and having them reach out to us and tell us about your experience here, because it is a very nascent program. As a matter of fact, I believe we're the only one in Monmouth County that actually initiated it and got it through to success. So we want to share our story, because it's not just Colts, like it's all students around. So, and there are folks that travel around to great other areas too, that they should be aware that, hey, listen, there is an oversight environment in that jurisdiction as well. So we want to spread this good word. It's a wonderful message. Kudos to the team for getting it. But this is hopefully just the beginning. So we encourage your support, and we would love to work with the seniors to help deliver that message across the township.
And one last thing, I just want to give Dr. Garibay, if you could just be brief with the counts about exceeding our limit. I just want to see if we could give them. I'm sorry, Jason. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, no, we had discussed this, and between all 3 of the schools here that we have, K through 8, I believe the number was approximately, because our numbers changed year to year, it was approximately about 400 kids between all three of the schools, Conover, Primary, and Cedar Drive,
That we would be able to take more
that we
of.
would be able to
Yeah,
take more
total.
of. Now, God willing, it doesn't get to that number, even close to that number. Obviously, if it goes over, it would not be.
So just to add on to that, if I may, if I may, with it,
absolutely, yeah.
you're correct. So we're approximately in-house every day, a little over 1,000 students. In 2014, we had a capacity study. The structures of the building, the classrooms themselves have not changed in that aspect. So the programs themselves. So based on that, the capacity, full capacity of the state's FES, which is that, that what says built per square foot, all the formulas that go into the work that goes in it was about 1,400 students, capacity-wise. Now, each building has its own. Okay. Currently, we are running at capacity, though, at primary school. That is something that we do know. So based on that model, while the district itself can absorb on the strictly capacity numbers another 400 students, as Mr. Rico referenced, the buildings themselves, if in need, the board would need to seriously work with administration regarding potential reconfiguration where spaces would be available in other buildings. Our largest capacity availability right now is at Cedar Drive. So we would just need to rethink how, provide the same works but in a different package.
Throw gasoline on the fire.
Yeah, and
Right.
When
look,
you're ready.
the past 5 years, we have had a huge influx of young families
Yes.
come to this town. So that is the reason why we're at full capacity at primary, and that will eventually move to elementary, and that will eventually then move to Cedar Drive. So, look, it's all a numbers game, and we're definitely aware of the numbers that could potentially come into our schools, so.
Good deal.
The critical capacity, the way my thought process is, it's funny, when you use the elephant through the keyhole, that was awesome. But it's going to be hard, and the reason it's hard, I'll give you the stats real quick. So to Dr. Garabay's point, it's about, 377, right? I think the primary school is at, or so it's different this, yeah. The capacity's 313, right? So if you give in the unions and things like that about the ratios, Conover Elementary, I'm giving you last year's numbers just because the sheet's out of date, but 324, capacity's 373, Cedar Drive 315, max capacity 616. So total as a district, again, as of last year, was 1,016. Max capacity is 1,302, with the estimated figures from all rounds, from the round 4 obligations, we're at 1,309. So we would be over capacity by 7 students. And then if Wellspring and Dutch Lane, if those aren't, taken care of like they should, as you've been very boisterous about, the new total estimate would be 1,431. So total over capacity by 120, actually 130, because you wouldn't have 0.68 of a child. So 130 students would be over. We'd have to build a whole new school.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the critical capacity, because we can't build a school. It takes, how long does it take? 5 years? More. Yeah, well, that's so if you think about it, like, we would have to put trailers outside, right, temporarily, so, yeah. That's what, but yeah, we will need your help, and I will certainly.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
O'Brien. We appreciate it. Anybody else want to come up and make a comment? Mr. Ryan?
Alan,
Guys, we need to,
Alan Ryan, 24 Ann Street.
sorry.
I didn't get a chance to come back here after the Tunnels to Towers visited the Cedar Drive School on November 19th. And I want to commend the whole board, everybody at this dais, for bringing that program in. I think it's really invaluable to these kids, and they know the sacrifice that was made, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys never forget. And that means so much, and these kids really will learn. And a compliment to the parents at home for the Cedar Drive kids. I watched them, and they were all there listening to this gentleman talk, this Mr. Reinhardt talk. And they all were looking at him, and there wasn't any, like, talking or anything like that. You know how, like, you get little mumbles and all that? Very, very impressed. Very, very impressed. The Secretary of Education, great job with that. And you guys really deserve so much credit because of what's coming up here in this town and what's forward. And you guys are handling our kids and your kids' education. So God bless you, and, just thank you. Thank you for your service, because
Mr. Ryan, I just want to add to that. I always appreciate your comments and taking the time to come out and visit us. We are very proud of the Tunnel to Towers. Like I said, I can't reiterate that enough. It was very engaging for our students. I was there for the entire event, and I'm very pleased with our decision to bring it here. Number two, Secretary McMahon's visit. I stand by my decision to have her here, and it was an exceptional opportunity, and it's something I would do over again if I had the chance.
I think that's fantastic.
Yep, thank you very much.
And you guys, just thank you again, and Godspeed on everything or whatever, because it's going to be a tough time. I know.
It is, but we're up
You
for
know,
the challenge, so
I-
we're going to do the best we can.
I'm sure you are, and I think you're going to knock it out of the park. Thank you very much, and God
Thank you.
bless.
Okay, anybody want to add or a question or comment for the board? Anybody? Okay, all right, a last call on that. We're going to close comments from the public. We have a couple of action items before we get into our committee of a whole meeting. So if I can have a motion to move those action items 1 through 9.
Motion.
Second.
All right, I want to make a comment on number 9. I know this came out late in the day. I approved it to come out this afternoon, and this is regarding a grant. I want to thank Mr. Marasco and Dr. Garabay for putting in the time. I know this is an exceptional opportunity. I don't know if you want to speak to it a little bit. I'd like you to, because this is just a phenomenal thing for our district if we can get this.
Sure. I'll try to be brief here, but
Oh,
it's,
okay.
just
All right.
to describe it, what it is we're applying for. It's a local recreation improvement grant that is run by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. And it's an annual application that local education agencies as well as other municipalities can apply for, and it provides funding for recreational facilities. It does prioritize underserved communities. However, we still meet the eligibility requirements to apply. This year's fund is about $10 million, I believe, and they typically grant in buckets of $75,000, which is the recommended, request, which is why we have that in the resolution. And we hope that we'll have success in applying, and we're hoping to offset, the purpose of this is to offset our desire to improve the condition of the flooring in the primary school gymnasium and cafeteria, which is the original flooring. For years, we've talked about needing, enhancement to that replacement, and now's the perfect timing. So the application is due next Friday, and we're hoping to get it done and see what happens.
Great, so that was a great call to receive this morning, and that's why we're putting it on, because by the time the next meeting, we would be out of, I guess, compliance, would you say, or the resolution,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Without.
easier to do it.
Yep, absolutely. So I don't know if anybody from Buildings and Grounds wants to comment on that. I'll give you the time.
You got it, huh?
Ms. Regnetti, yeah. Okay.
His mic is on. I'm just letting you know his mic is on. He's about to shut it off.
Oh, yeah, leave it on. Leave your mic on, because yours always has an issue.
We just had a Building and Grounds Committee,
Okay.
Subcommittee, ad hoc committee, and address our short-term goals and needs of our district in 2026, 2027. Also a long-range planning, and that school floor is 25 years old. The gym is old. The kids that sit on that floor in the cafeteria is old. So it's a really high priority I feel, as chair of the Building and Grounds. I know it's a really big ask for the superintendent to replace that floor, and $75,000 is going to go a long way of defraying that cost. So thanks, Vince, and thanks, Doc, for applying for that grant. It was good timing.
Yeah, great timing. Yeah. Well, thank you very much from the board for the work put in there. So let's have a roll
I just wanted
call.
to
Oh,
add
I'm
one
sorry,
thing.
Mrs. Cameron.
That when it was put out, I went on the website, and if anyone wants to read in more details, it's right on the official site of the state of New Jersey under, as Vince mentioned, Department of Community Affairs, and it very detailed lays out exactly the eligibility, the application process. So I really am looking forward to this, and I feel like it was a great call to put this on last minute. I know I'm usually very critical when things are put on last minute.
So
And this
I said,
one,
I guess this
that's why I
one-
went right on the website to read about it, and I did notice the
Okay.
date, and I was like, that was an emergency. So I am critical, so at this time I want to also, thank you.
Excellent. All right, let's move forward and get a roll call on those 1 through 9.
Yes. Mrs. Cameron,
Yes.
Mr. Arico,
Yes.
Mr. Rignetta,
Yes.
Mr. Scale,
Yes.
Mr. Scarpa.
Yes, and congratulations to the teacher that's retiring in July.
Thank you. Mrs. Volpe,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Wickberg.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carried.
And if I may, we were talking about the grant, but I thank you for pointing that out. So Linda Weigel has announced her retirement. Now, those of you who know Mrs. Weigel, she has been the only art teacher at the primary school for the entirety the building has been opened. So she will be retiring and leaving us after 38 years of public education as an art teacher in this district. And one of the things I said to her when she came to speak with me and talk with me about her retirement that she was going for is that the amount of children that she introduced the skill and the beauty of art to as young children, whether it's shapes, whether it's colors, whether it's learning how to draw something or teaching them something they didn't have to do. The thousands of children have passed through her classroom and brought a love of an appreciation of art, and who know, maybe even cultivated an interest in it. So there isn't enough gratitude to go to Mrs. Weigel for everything that she's done for this community and this school district of the year. So as I always say, we, on behalf of the entire district, while we still have time to talk her out of it, I just want to, which is like, not going to happen, but at the same time, wish her the best of happiness, health, and a well-deserved rested retirement. So thank you.
Excellent. All right. At this time, we are going to go right into our board liaison reports. Mrs. Horowitz is not here tonight, so I'm going to cover her 2 committees briefly. So the PTO, we have, I'm going to start with the PTO. We have the primary school and the elementary school has a book swap February 25th. 3rd grade trivia night is February 5th at 6:30 to 7:45 in the Crest Cafeteria. We have our annual Valentine's Day Pizza fundraiser. I believe that is February 12th, 12 to 8 p.m. Orders are due by February 4th. And then we have the 4th grade fun night. That is February 20th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Play Big Zone. I think that's what she told me. Just to let everybody know, the Colts Neck PTO, I received the gala invitation, this lovely gala invitation. Beautiful thing, Prosecco and pajamas is the theme. And I just wanted to bring that and show everybody. I'm actually going to try to make it again this year. I have a conflict that day, but I'm going to do my best to be there. But I just wanted to bring that and thank all of our PTO. Mrs. Kaufman does a fantastic job. I was there last year, and I can't tell you the amount of work that goes into this event. I remember bumping into you at the auction, fighting over the big bottle of Doors, which I don't drink anymore, but we were saying who was going to win that, and neither of us walked out with that. But anyway, yeah, anyway, I just wanted to commend Mrs. Kaufman and all the ladies of the PTO and the moms that aren't on the board that just give their all every day of the year to make these great events for our kids. I also want to point out that the Board of Education has graciously donated in their personal capacity, not from the board, but individuals. We all donated to the iPad. That's been a tradition, I guess, for several number of years. So I just want to say that'll be coming your way. And then we're going to move right into the Parent Advisory Committee. As everybody knows, on the 26th, I was not able to attend but we wind up having a massive snowstorm, so the AM and PM meetings were obviously canceled. So there's nothing to report there. We will revisit the Parent Academy later under policy. At this time, we're going to pass it to Phyllis for, I'm sorry, Mrs. Camera for the Colts Neck Township newsletter.
Okay, so on Facebook, on the Colts Neck Town, and as well as on the Colts Neck Township schools, we have a link to subscribe to our Colts Neck Township website. I'm sorry, to our Colts Neck Township Board of Education newsletter. I'm encouraging everyone to join in the community. And our next newsletter, I'm looking at the end of March to have it published by.
Okay,
That's all.
excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward to the arts, extracurricular, and sports, I'm going to give it to Mr. Regnetta and Mr. Wickberg, but I do want to add a comment after your reports.
Sure. I'm started off with, I just got word today that lacrosse, boys lacrosse for 5th and 6th graders, unfortunately did not have enough kids to field a team for travel, but there is the possibility that they can play with Shore in Oceanport. They have 11 kids, but they did promise our would-be coach that they would get ample playing time if they wanted to join, and the fee to register is cheaper than what ours was, $225, I believe. And you should be able to get your registration fee that you've paid for ours back. Just contact the Colts Neck Sports Foundation for that, and they should be able to refund you if it's not already going to be in the process already automatically. Flag football, the registration period has closed, but there is a wait list and that you can sign up for, and they are in need still of 1st, 3rd, and 5th graders, so you're likely to get a spot if you go on the wait list for those grades, but the cost is at $275 for that. Girls softball is still sign up is still available. It's $195 right now until the 7th, so that's going to be ending. So the early bird's going to be ending soon. And then it's going to go up to $225 starting on the 8th through the 28th, and then it jumps to $275. Opening day will be April 1st, and it will go to June 30th. Boys and girls baseball will for the same age groups, 4 to 16-year-olds for that, and it's the same registration fees, the $195, $225, and $275 with the same dates as the girls softball. Opening day for baseball, though, will be April 11th, and that'll go to mid-June. And there is a military discount for military families to sign up. And if you're signing up 3 or more kids, whether in baseball or softball, you will get a little discount as well. And this year they're going to try to field some all-star teams. Definitely try and field one at least, and to send to a district tournament. But you do have to attend 60% of the games to be eligible for to make that all-star team. And lastly, for any more questions to sign up, just go to coltsnecksportsfoundation.com, and all the sports are listed there in the menu drop-down. So you can just go to each sports particular site to sign up and read more about it. And there's in the contact list, there's contacts for all sports if you have any questions. Over to Rich if he has any more to add.
Yeah, I got to say congratulations to the Colts Neck Sports Foundation travel basketball program, not only for their performance at the tournament at Multi-Sports Kingdom over the weekend, but also the expansion to now 8 teams, which is the largest in the program's history. So thank you to the parents, coaches, and all the volunteers for making it possible.
Great, thank you. That's an awesome, awesome update, guys. I just wanted to add, we've been meeting with the Sports Foundation regarding their fee schedule and whatnot, but I just want to announce that we extended last night during our meeting that involved Mr. Rico, Mr. Scales, and Board Chair Buildings and Grounds Kevin Walsh. We want to open up lines of communication. We value, their relationship with us, and we want to basically meet maybe quarterly, I think we discussed. So I'm going to ask the both of you, we're going to set up meetings with them so we can basically stay on the same page what they need, during their time renting our facilities, maybe hanging, what do you call it, posters on the wall we discussed, and so on and so forth. So you guys are going to be leading that. I will be joining in that meeting, and then we'll be sending an invitation out to them with some dates that we can get on board. I don't know if anybody from the Buildings and Grounds wants to add anything, but I just think it's a fantastic thing that we're expanding our relationship with them for the sake of our kids. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
It's nice meeting them in person. Really
Yeah,
nice
Mr.
people.
Luckman and,
our
yeah.
board, our district is here to support our kids and the Sports Foundation 110%. We talked a little about financials, and we came to a great agreement, fair agreement for both sides. And we just look forward to a great partnership going forward where we support them and they support us. So it was a great meeting. I don't know if anybody else wants to.
Yeah, and the baseline of the conversation was a solid proactive measure between the two parties, between the Sports Foundation and their supporting parties, and us as representatives of the board. So we went over a variety of costs, and obviously costs have increased across the board over the number of years. So it was a good opportunity, to Kevin's point, to bring them up to speed on where we're at, from a cost infrastructure perspective, and what we want to do to our facilities, too. More importantly, out of all of it, we want to make sure that the kids have a good time, that they're safe, and then that we have the opportunity to provide the facilities that they're looking for in a safe environment and develop them over the course of the years. So this is about a handshake environment so that we can proceed forward, but it's a good long-standing relationship. It was an excellent meeting, and I think we achieved a great deal. I look forward to the continued partnership.
Thank everybody on that committee. Put a lot of work into it.
Mr.
Appreciate
Rieger, would you like to add anything? Okay, I just want to thank, it was Mr. Luckman and Mr. Kafara that met with us, and they're exceptional gentlemen, very polite, and it was a pleasure to meet with them over the past week or so. Okay, we are going to move right into the Cold Lake Township Committee. Mr. Walsh.
It's my first YouTube, watching another township governing body. The first hour is all executive session. I think the executive session was actually longer than the meeting itself.
Yeah, I
However,
think it ran over an hour.
I thank the public service, all the township committee, and the residents that do come and listen and ask questions. It was pretty short, summary of it. They talked about the mediation that's going to be heard by a judge. The decision should have been heard in December for the two developments that the town is opposed to in the fourth round. We should anticipate a ruling soon. And those, I think, really, those properties are located off of Dutch Lane and Boundary and Wells Springs. A big impact to our town. So we're hoping for a favorable decision. With that said, we believe the figure was $50,000 on attorney fees for affordable housing. That was reported. The Montvale suit brought by 20 towns, and I commend them for trying to fight the good fight against the state. The judge dismissed it. It was by prejudice. It's been dismissed twice. However, they are appealing in the Third Court of Appeals. So if they get a favorable judge, the best we can hope for a stay on the building or some type of precedent that actually says stop. So it was brought by Committeeman Bozzetta. They reported on all their committees. The committeemen have various committees: first aid, fire, public works. The storm was mentioned. A lot of snow, a lot of ice. There was a shortage of brine, salt. It was a logistic issue that a lot of towns were short on. I want to commend our school district. Our facilities director was proactive and had a lot on hand. Also, they mentioned, while I'm on that, I commend the Public Works who came through our schools and helped clear the snow and ice. So thank you, Public Works, Cold Lake Township. They mentioned that birthday of George Washington on February 22nd, sponsored by the Cold Lake Business Association. I think it's $125 per
Yes.
person. And you get, drinks and food, and they're going to have historical figures come in and speak. Should be a nice event, very nice event. There you go. This was actually in my senior citizen newsletter, which is really nice. They show the event, and they show all the upcoming 250 celebration events. It was really nice. pull out of the newsletter. So seniors, $10 for the year. What else here we had? Interesting point was they went over the vouchers, how much money the town spent. 94% of the vouchers expended, over $4 million. 94% of it went to the school board. $3 million to our local school district and over $1 million to the Freehold Regional School District. So you see how much money was collected and dispersed. Point of the story is a lot of money is collected for school taxes. So it gives you a little picture when snap it of, and over $233,000 was spent on other township expenditures, medical insurance, public works, police department, and so forth. Mr. O'Brien, if I'm missing anything, let me know.
I believe
Yeah.
Mr. Ryan was
They
there as well,
mentioned,
so feel free to
they
chime in.
gave credit to our Mr. Scales initiative, the critical school capacity, and how we're proactive as a school board and getting ahead of everything. Where we're going to meet with all the stakeholders, the state, local, county, and try to get a game plan, a battle plan, and prepare for this. So that was pretty much it. And Mr. Ryan sang God Bless America and Pledge Allegiance, I believe, who's always at the township meetings. That's it for the township committee.
You guys, I can't applaud you enough for what you do with that national anthem. It's a great job.
We make sure our kids listen to it every single morning. That, yes, very important to this board.
Because of people's sacrifices, and that's the most important thing to understand. People fought for this right.
It was a pretty low-key committee meeting. There's no back and forth or anything. It was very civil and everything. But it's hard to listen to for 2 hours, hour and a half. I would want me to
All right.
proceed with the...
Actually, Mrs. Cameron's got the 250 celebration, if she
Right.
could
No,
add to that.
I don't mind at all, nope. The next meeting will be Thursday, February 12th at 5:30. It is important, at Town Hall. Okay, it is important that we decide, I need to give the committee a definite yes or no about the buses. They are asking, again, for the buses to be used Wednesday, May 6th for the barn tour, that they're charging $50 a person. They're asking for the school buses between 10 and 2. They will be paying us for this privilege. So I would like, just to be able to let them know, yes, we are on board, or no, we are not, for legality reasons. They will have their own insurance policy. Colby, through the Department of Recreation, he offered to pay through Community Pass to use the CN buses as part of the township. So if we can maybe kind of
I
wrap...
think I'd like to speak to that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
As board president, I think from the feedback, and please, anybody chime in, I don't like over-talking everybody, but I think what we discussed in a few meetings was the fact of insurance issues, along with the fact that our students need those buses ready and waiting right before 2 o'clock. So I'm assuming that we are not going to move forward with allowing them to rent our buses. I know Mr. Arrico, co-chair with Mr. Scarpa, you deal with the finance, and Kevin Walsh. I believe that we were on the same page, that this would not be in our best interest
I just
to
look at
do
it as
this.
a liability issue, a litigation, God forbid. It was an accident not involving our students. I don't want to take the risk and be exposed to, and all due respect to the Coastline Business Association, all due respect to this event, and I wholly not in favor of having our buses transport anybody but our students.
I wouldn't second that from a point of risk. I think their programs can certainly move forward, with other rental opportunities. There are plenty of bus rental opportunities or coach opportunities for them to explore, so we should get in front of it early so
Yeah,
they can make
that's
their
why
plans.
I commend you,
But-
Mrs. Cameron, for
yeah.
forcing a
Thank
decision
you.
there.
I just wanted a decision, so...
But I definitely encourage anyone to chime in.
Yeah,
From a
does
point of risk,
anybody
I don't
have an
see that
objection,
much
or
reward.
do we agree that this would not be in the best interest for
I
liability
would just like to
reasons?
get Dr. Gabriel and Vince's opinion? What do they think the liability if it's not worth,
I agree.
not
I
worth
think
the risk?
Sure. We at the request when we had the conversation, we did reach out to our insurance agency, and they provided some very factual information, which was included. I think I shared it in an email with Mrs. Camera in response to that about the liability piece of it, and while it ultimately is Board of Education property that they can use, but they certainly did say it's a risk and liability that was not recommended by the insurance company in terms of no matter what the coverage is of the umbrella, that there are risks that the Board of Education will be liable for. So that would be something that for those reasons alone.
Even if they're getting their own insurance?
Yeah, there's still
will come
coverage,
back to
without a
us.
doubt. Everyone can be sued for everything,
Absolutely.
whether it's successful or not, but right, it's the risk part of it. And again, supportive of the program, happy to support it in every other way. And I'll be there. I'm going to try to make it on Thursday night.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I
Thank
will
you.
then let the committee know that we are not moving forward with the buses, so that way we can brainstorm and figure out another. I mean, they might be willing with the 1:30 versus 2, but I hear it's more about the liability than the actual time, because I'm sure there would be some flexibility. So the township website has which is coltsneck.org, includes a dedicated page for all of the semi-quincentennial events, and I am requesting that the school district do the same. There are events taking place at the county level, the township level, and of course the school level, including collaborations with the township and the high school, such as the calendar contest. So if we can work on that with Mr. Capasso, that way we're in sync and we're spreading all this wonderful information. Additionally, I recommend that residents follow and engage with the Colts Neck, New Jersey 250 page on both Facebook and Instagram. And Dr. Garibay, if you'd be so kind, I would ask of you to discuss the calendar contest, maybe with the art teachers, so that we can encourage student participation, and you could provide us maybe updates in your superintendent reports, so that way then I could report that back to the committee and just, giving them updates.
For the purposes of working with Mr. Capasso for our website, where I'm on the township committee website, do you know where it is located?
Yeah, I actually pulled it up. Just go straight down, and then you'll see latest news. And you'll see the
got
250th
it.
celebration event. So this is the first town event. Kevin spoke about it. It does have then the other events on the back. This is also being posted on social media. The CMBA sent this out via email, so just to keep all residents in the loop. So this is the first event, and then we are helping out with the calendar contest, which is a collaboration between the town, the high school, and us.
And forgive me, is it on, as I'm looking at it, is there something that is going to be formalized regarding what the calendar parameters are or something like that? Is that coming to
It's,
fruition?
I did reach out to Sue Fitzpatrick,
Yeah.
and there really are no parameters.
Okay.
It's very
Anything.
open, and you did mention if it's digital or paper. She does prefer paper, but can work with it.
So is it okay, maybe we can work with you, I'll send something to you where it's a case where I'll draw up something that I can physically send out to
Yes.
our school community as an invitation for
That
participation?
would be wonderful.
That says we're looking for creative, blah, 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 and whatever kind of, and we can bring it Thursday to present to them or share with them in advance, then we can
Yes,
send it out.
I love
Okay.
that idea. And
Okay.
then, then we could post it on social media as well,
Right.
our website, and hopefully it's something though that's done in the schools, and we'll keep moving forward with that.
Okay.
Okay, let me just go back. I think that's everything for the 250th committee. Yes, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Camera. Moving back to Mr. Walsh with the seniors.
They had their meeting today. I just want to acknowledge their new leadership for 2026 and their service to the senior citizen community. President Ray Chabelle, Vice President Nancy Walton, Treasurer Frank Sikorakis, Secretary Lois Cohen, and Public Relations Anne Marie D. They do a lot of work behind the scenes of updating senior citizens of current events in town. With that being said, the upcoming events in the near term are February 21st, the Wedding Singer and at the Spring Lake Theater. monthly luncheon at the Colsack Inn. March will be the next meeting. They have a luncheon immediately following at the No Limits Cafe in Red Bank on March 5th. They have a theater presentation, The Sunshine Boys, at the Hunterdon Hills Playhouse on March 12th. And the big overnight trip, again, is May 18th to the 20th. The Recreation Department provides a great place to go and work out, whatever they do, you know. It's available during the week and Saturdays. It's a great little building on Hires Mill Road for the seniors. They have a nice program there for them. That's pretty much it for seniors.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So I believe a lot of residents, I think all residents, received this magazine, and I was telling Kevin before the meeting, or I guess when the meeting first began, there were 2 articles in here about our senior community and some of the events they do, and I really just appreciated, I'm just like finding the one that I want to talk about, the president, Ray Chabelle, he gives his phone number. He wants you, if you're a senior, to reach out to him, 732-890-0381 for more information. And there were 2 articles in here, so I was very impressed when I read them, and because of you bringing so much to light, it stood out to me. I was like, this is wonderful. So
We have about 292 members, and the last month they had 92 members attend. It's a good turnout. So they're watching what we're doing.
All right, great. Mr. Scarpa, I'll give you the floor for the Naval Weapons Station Earl liaison.
Yes, thank you. You know, last week I had the opportunity to go with Dr. Garibay, President Volpe, myself, and Jessica Ramirez to go visit the facilities over at Naval Weapons Station Earl. I was quite impressed. You know, there's a lot of history there. It dates back to the World War II, mid-1940s. Has been in constant use since then. It services a large community, and of which we have our resident students here in all 3 schools. I was very, very impressed. We were there for 2.5 hours going through the network of facilities there and what they offer their students and student base. I was quite impressed with the transportation logistics, you know, to get the students here, both here, back and forth. And there's a lot of work behind the scenes. So a good tour like this, thank you to Ms. Jones for facilitating it, goes a very long way in opening up the eyes and appreciation. Like, there's more than just the students showing up at school. There's advanced planning, there's appreciation across the board. Great teamwork. I'm sure President Volpe, you'll speak more about it as well, but I was impressed by the amount of folks it takes to get the students here and to have them engage for their short period of time while they're here in Colts Neck. So very, very, just great time spent. I was very appreciative of the opportunity, and thank you, Dr. Garibay and President Volpe, for facilitating it. It went very, very well. But I'm open to your suggestions and ideas.
Yeah, thank you. It was a great day for us. It was exceptional opportunity for me. I've obviously never been there, and I want to thank you, Mrs. Ida Jones, for giving us that opportunity. Please extend our gratitude to Captain Smith as well. He gave us such a warm welcome, a nice history of you know, the buildings and so on and so forth. I was extremely impressed with the sports center you guys have and the store in there. I thought it was exceptional to have that for our military. So once again, we always want to prioritize you and the military children of this district. So thank you all so much, and thank you, Mr. Scarpa, for always giving the military your priority.
May I for a second? May I just
Yeah,
add something?
absolutely.
I just want to thank William Addison, who was our tour guide. Like a proud parent, Mr. Addison was my student at Brook Memorial High School many, many years ago when I was a high school English teacher, and like a proud parent watching him continue to love history as he did when he was my student in English class. And just super proud, and extend my sincere gratitude for his time in walking us through your facilities. So just thanks to all of you.
Awesome. Good stuff. We are going to move right into the state and county school boards. I'm going to try to run really fast through this because we're into this meeting an hour and we have so much to do. So, guys, financial disclosures are due, obviously, every year. We got to put that out. And the governance training. Rich, since you are a new addition, if you need any assistance with that, please reach out to me. Also, Mr. Marasco will be willing to help you, get all of that done as well. If you need to, help registering or whatever you need, let me know and I could assist you. The school boards is offering a free core online policy manual that includes required and critical policies, legal references, and their entire policy library into a downloadable, easy-to-use manual. The link is in your board email if anybody wants to visit that. March 20th is the 3rd Annual Women's Leadership Conference, 9 to 4. It's $149 at the College of New Jersey. Governance 2 mandated training will be February 10th and March 24th. Governance 3 will be February 5th, March 26th, 7 to 9. And the last one will be February 11th, 7 to 9, and March 24th. This is all in your emails. I'm running through it fast, but just so you know, there's a lot of opportunity, different days you could meet those requirements. New board orientation, I remember doing this a couple years ago, is out at the Crown Plaza by Princeton. Registration is through Mr. Marasco, or BA only, and that will be February 20th through the 22nd. So if you want a little weekend out at a hotel and listen to let me refrain from those comments. Moving right into yesterday's meeting, February 3rd, we had a virtual meeting. New Jersey School Boards were the host of that. I'm going to pass this to Mrs. Camera. I'm not sure if anybody else attended. Dr. Garibay did as well. She may want to put some input, but that was with Senator Vin Gopal and O'Scanlan. So if you want to take that away, you can.
Yep, so last night I listened to the Monmouth County School Boards Association virtual meeting, a conversation with Senator Gopal and O'Scanlan. So as most of you know, Senator Vin Gopal is our district, District 11. He's a Democrat. Senator O'Scanlan represents District 13 as a Republican. Both senators emphasized their bipartisan working relationship and noted that they collaborate effectively despite their party differences. The discussion focused on several key issues impacting public education in New Jersey, including the possibility of regionalization efforts, specifically related to special education. So one topic to note was the concept of developing a Monmouth County special education hub, as well as addressing the extraordinary costs associated with out-of-district placements. So there was a discussion around a potential long-term idea of creating these state-funded and state-operated special education schools, which could reduce or replace the need for private special education placements. On the call, Senator Gopal mentioned that he just gave one example of a student who needs to get transported to New York, and that district is responsible for $150,000. So that was the example he gave why this could be very beneficial. Both senators acknowledged that such an initiative would require significant changes to current special education laws before it can move forward. Additional topics included shared services as a cost-saving measure for districts. And specifically, they were talking about shared services with maintenance, transportation, snow removal, and other operational expenses. So I do support this idea. Both senators agreed that Monmouth County was disproportionately impacted by the S2 school funding formula under the Murphy administration. They both expressed hope that future funding allocations would more accurately and fairly reflect local taxpayer contributions and district needs. Board members were invited to submit questions in advance or through the live chat. I submitted 3 questions through the live chat, one related to affordable housing and 2 concerning the S2 funding formula. While the S2 funding formula was addressed, it was addressed very broadly during the session. We were informed that all submitted chat questions would be answered in writing at a later date and then shared with all participants. So when I get my answers, I will share them with the board. That said, I do remain skeptical of the 2 senators who have served under multiple administrations. So I'm going to be optimistic but skeptical. I don't know if you'd like to add anything else. Dr.
No.
Garibay. No, I'm sorry, Dr. Garibay.
So I agree. I was hoping for a little bit more information about like funding formulas. That's something obviously that we're very hungry for as school leaders because it hasn't been looked at in as many years. This was not, as actually Senator O'Scanlan mentioned, this was something that has been on the radar of school administrators for many, many years, and it has yet to have been revised yet. And it's something that I think is really a disservice to the school leaders and boards of education because without revisiting it, we're just going to continue to navigate problems and be taking and doing patchwork. So we need to have more solid framework around what funding sources are going to look like moving forward, especially for districts that have been hit hard, they've been given waivers. Those are all Band-Aids for state aid. You know, we are in a different situation, but we are faced in the future with increases and things that we will have financial implications upon the district. So we need to have a more solid foundation as to what that's going to look like for us and have it be reliable. That's one of the things as well. So I think there's a lot of concern around the unknown and uncertainties. To the special services, I would love, you know, I know that would be something I've shared that was mentioned that at our superintendent's roundtable that Senator Gopal did come to speak about that as well. I know it's something that Dr. Beck would certainly be very interested in, you know, having conversations with and helping with and whatnot, because they're not wrong. Small districts that they talked about, it's not wrong. You know, we face similar things. We don't have a tremendous amount of out-of-district students, but the costs are real. And so it's something that collaboratively to be able to support students with disabilities in a way that makes sense and is also fiscally responsible to get them the most support that they could possibly need. It would be beneficial, it would be a win-win for everybody. So I look forward to seeing what that looks like as well.
Yes, we'll see. It's big goals.
I will tell you at school boards too, at school boards workshop they had a very similar type of panel discussion. And one of the things that was asked was about the municipalities, you know, is really affordable housing is addressed at the municipalities, but yet it has significant impact upon the local school districts, and who's talking about that. And the comment that was made by the legislators of the time, they said, we know that's a really good point. No one's talking about that. So we are going to encourage them to continue to talk about that, because while it is a municipality-driven conversation, it certainly is having significant implications upon school districts all across the state, and it needs to be more at the forefront of conversations.
Right, and I will add on, the superintendent from Monmouth County was on. I saw him online. And the last thing I did receive, I think all board members received this today, there is a LD11 sock drive and Help Our Homeless Stay Warm. So I did want to just share. It says there's just a week left to take advantage of this opportunity to help people in your community who are without shelter in the winter. Stay warm, donate to the annual LD11 sock drive. So if you have, there is a wish list, socks, underwear, undershirts. It's from January 14th to February 11th, so we're near the end. And the drop-off location as 766 Shrewsbury Avenue, Suite 100 in Tinton Falls, New Jersey. All right, and that's everything for me. Thank you.
All right, we are going to try to speed up the meeting a little bit. We're going to go right into the committee of a whole work session. At this time, I'm going to request each board member to bullet point and, you know, in respect of everybody's time, to make your comments as brief as possible. We'll start with the ad hoc affordable housing. Mr. Scales, I'm not sure if you have anything. Nothing's listed here.
Nope, other than just diligent work on the plan. I'll have a project plan for us.
Wow, that was very quick. Thank you very much. Okay, buildings and grounds, safety and security, board chair Kevin Walsh.
Thank Vince and Dr. Garabay for putting the meeting together, long range and also short range. We're looking at priorities for infrastructure needs for 26, 20, 27, highlighted all three schools, and we're also looking down the road the next couple of years. It was a great, I have a great team, all strong, finance, strong in finance. Jason, Brian, Mr. Wickberg, welcome to Building and Grounds. Mr. Wickberg has a great background in construction. It's going to help the district as a whole. So we're going to identify what really needs to be done next year as a committee and an administration and get it done. There's nothing saying we can't do a lot of this stuff on this list. It just has to be done smartly.
Okay, is,
And
Oh,
to
I'm
add
sorry,
on,
go ahead.
this
Yeah.
is definitely not siloed only in one year. To Kevin's point, this is a long-term structure, and that's how we want to focus on this. We have 4 facilities. We have the small 3 schools, and we have the admin building to be cognizant of. They all have their individual needs, and many of the buildings are aging, so we're taking that into consideration. So we're going to work with Vince and Dr. Garibay and come up with a good plan to structure 26, 27, and 28 and 29, so we can say, okay, what's in play, and then work on the proper level of financing to support these initiatives. But to Kevin's point, we have a great team here, and I'm very confident we're going to achieve a great deal over the next couple of years as we carve through the sets of responsibilities.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, Mrs. Camera, under curriculum, I see you have a little bit, so let's get started with that.
Okay, I'm gonna actually start with 2, and then this one will take the longest, so 2 through 4 is very quick. Okay, starting with cursive writing instruction. So on Monday, January 19th, Governor Murphy signed S1 783, 83865. The bill requires public school districts in New Jersey to incorporate instruction on cursive handwriting into curriculum for students in 3rd through 5th grades. So the district currently has handwriting instruction in place. We have handwriting is embedded in our Being a Reader program for grades K through 1, and then taught as a separate curriculum in 2 to 4 using Zaner Blosser. And now we are just adding, so for finance, when you're going through curriculum, we will be adding grade 5 handwriting materials, because that is new. Okay, moving on to number, any comments on 2? Cursive? Great. Okay, number 3, data and intervention. In terms of our Linked Intervention Manager, reviewing the help me with this. Thank you. Data, where we have a downward trend in referral numbers for INRS in the, so Dr. Reynolds gave me a chart, so if you could include that in the superintendent update, everybody can see it, but just, that's a positive thing. Okay, moving on to, comments with that one? We're all happy? Great. Okay. Number
as to what Linked is and give a little background.
Okay. Number 4 are some new instructional programs. So first we have Typtastic. That is a structured keyboarding and digital literacy program designed to build efficient, accurate typing skills. It's in alignment to the New Jersey Student Learning Standards in terms of educational technology, different benchmarks. So this was advised, this actually was something from the Parent Advisory Committee feedback, and the district has streamlined typing instruction to occur at the beginning of our K-8 iLab sessions. Teachers received updated training during the January 19th Professional Development Day, and homeroom teachers can now integrate the program into daily instruction. So this, again, for finance, will be something that's included in summer work as teachers are creating the curriculum. Okay. The next one is the writing revolution. So you might recall last year we updated our writing program, Being a Writer, for grades K through 5. Thank you. This is for grades 6 to 8. It's strategies for cross-content writing. It is following something called the Hockman method, an evidence-based approach to teaching. It breaks writing into sequence skills. It moves students from sentence-level competence to organized paragraphs. It's designed to be embedded into content instruction. I went on the website. I read about it. There's some videos. I was impressed. So that's my feedback on it. Comments? Okay.
It's a training for teachers to have more in-depth knowledge of grammar and conventions of writing and things like that. It's more like a skill-based type of thing. Professional development is not necessarily a program for that, but it's about training. So
Yes.
that's exactly, and that coincides with what we're working on following up. Because the Being a Writer program is so structured, we want to follow and support that structure as they follow up to the middle school.
Yes, like I said, I enjoyed reading about it on the website. The last is the Library Media Standards, an update. So I don't know if you remember, she was piloting some new standards, and I'm just paraphrasing her quote. This is her paraphrase. Dr. Garibay in the update can share the whole quote because it was quite long, but this is a a condensed quote from media specialist Susan Frick. I'm reviewing the standards and find that I already implement many of these practices. The standards organize research skills into 4 pillars: identifying information needs, evaluating sources, using information for research, and sharing findings, with lessons across grade bands. Due to time constraints, some activities are informal, but students consistently practice these skills through discussion, research, and written work. Instruction includes the 5 W and H, who, what, why, where, when, how, questions, use of multiple resources, and digital citizenship. The standards are overarching, align with career-ready skills, and are not limited to the library. I look forward to supporting their integration across content areas. So that was the condensed quote. It's much longer. She gave a lot more information, but for our purposes, I thought that was enough. Okay. One is a little bit more, because it does involve, you know, I think a real discussion. The other ones were pretty easy. So we are getting ready. We already actually, it already started to pilot grade 1 iReady program as a potential replacement for the NWEA MAP assessment. So the pros of the iReady pilot, okay, it combines assessment and adaptive instruction. It's built to guide next instructional steps automatically, so it's very easy for teachers, and the training and support is bundled. The cons, which is a very big con, it's much higher per student cost than the assessment tools we have now. It's $63,010.50 versus the MAP, which is $11,660. So the pros for the MAP is obviously that lower cost, and the NWEA MAP includes science, and it is a widely used standardized benchmark with reporting and growth tracking. Okay, the cons, it doesn't have that built-in instruction. So if you remember when Dr. Reynolds presented, she's like, we use this as data points. So my suggestion, which I talked about a while ago, is that we don't pay for either one of these programs, and we focus on the Savvis math curriculum that we already use that has benchmark tests embedded in it, because we have topic tests as a data point. We'll have these benchmarks as a data point. We should be relying on teacher recommendation. We're talking about our youngest learners here. I'm focusing really on the K-3 with this iReady program. Savvis, again, assessments are directly aligned to the curriculum. Teachers can see exactly what standards students have mastered. MAP and iReady assess skills more broadly, but teachers still have to translate those results back into Savvis, because again, even though you can say, oh, this is guiding instruction, curriculum, Savvis is our curriculum. The teachers start with 1-1. They turn the page. They go to 1-2. So I just really believe that we can save all this money. I'm just looking through my notes, what I can condense. So adding MAP or iReady, it's more screen time, it's less instructional time, it increases test fatigue for those young learners. And I really think that for instructional decisions that we're making, we're using this for data points. We're using it in order to say these students belong in enrichment, these students belong in TIP, targeted intervention programs. I don't think it's like the cost is enough to justify what we use it for. So for the Finance Committee, that's a decision you will have to make. Do you want to stick with MAP testing? Do you want to pilot the iReady with that cost? Or is it something you would rather?
Dr. Garibay, not to interrupt you mid-sentence, she would like to add some comments
Yeah.
while you're on that particular.
Yeah, I would like to make a recommendation that Dr. Reynolds come and present the difference, because Savvis does not do, I think we talked about this when we talked about it, it does not do
She did
this,
mention.
it does not do the same things that NWEA does or iReady does. The purpose of looking at it is looking at it through the lens of what is happening in the background as they are going through the curriculum. How are they able to demonstrate skills outside of the curriculum that's being taught? It's an assessment tool that is also longitudinal, that goes K-8, right? And so as students transfer up. So I would like to have a presentation that the board would be able to see I'm not advocating for iReady at this time. That's not the point of it. It was a part of a pilot. It was we're investigating and looking into resources. That's part of our core jobs here, what we do. We're always looking to better and look at different resources. However, I do want the board to make an informed decision. It's not about looking at you know, how much screen time, because we've done ST Math, we've implemented other things that have added screen time to different students and things that we've done. So it's not, we know how to find the balance of all of that, but it's about the tool itself and if we value the tool. So the purpose of the pilot was to say, is this still a good tool for us, right? It wasn't about necessarily eliminating and looking at things because it's embedded in what we do with our assessments every day. So I would like an objective type of presentation. We can say like, hey, listen, this is what we're using it for. And the difference between Savvis, because I really would want respectfully to say that they don't do the same thing. So I think that, to say that one can easily replace, I think is devaluing what NWEA brings to our instructional programming and decision making. So I would just like the opportunity to present that on a larger scale, maybe at the next
I think that's a great idea, just to make the most informed decision. Again, more testing does not automatically lead to better instruction. And, I guess my closing thought is, as a board, we need to ask, what instructional decisions are we making with the mapper iReady, and that's what this presentation will show, that we can't already make using the Savvis data? So that's, I think that's the big question. Is it worth this price? So if that answer is not clear, if we can make the instructional decisions using the data from Savvis, then I don't think the cost justifies itself. Also, with that, in Vision, we are updating to the 2027, so that's the newest Savvis, and I believe we are planning for the rollout in September. So it has targeted intervention, it has everything in it. I went online, I actually looked at the new program, and it's a lot more different than I expected. So I will update the board with those differences as I'm learning them. Okay, so that is an important discussion, especially for finance.
I just have one thing, Dr. Carabay, when we get that presentation, I forget from Dr. Reynolds, if she'd give it to us, can we make sure we have that third option if we don't use either of them, that you were saying if we just use the Savvis?
Right, like she'll compare all
Yeah,
three.
all three,
Yes,
okay.
yes,
Not
yes.
just the two.
And
but
I think
all
it's a
the
case
all
where,
three are in there.
yeah, and I think it's a bigger discussion too, because I do want the opportunity to speak to, some of the concerns, and I have some follow-up information to share with Mrs. Camera about that, because with regards to decision-making, I think there's governance and there's administration, and I think that part of the process is going through and saying, like, this is the information, and based on the educational leaders and things, these are the recommendations as we're charged to do to keep moving the district and the students forward and their academic growth. So I think we have to find and look at that a little bit more too and say, like, hey, these are the options that are on the table. This is the recommendation for the best option, and it's not necessarily about finding that balance between governance and administration with regards to decision making. I think that's an important thing for us to be mindful of as a board as we work together.
Absolutely. And I want to remind us, when Dr. Reynolds did present earlier, we are using this for data points. So we want to, take this into consideration. Okay, so this will be a conversation that we continue to have, and it will we'll be going into finance. Okay, the second one is the NJSLA updates. April 27th through May 22nd of 2026 is the testing dates. Obviously, the administration will be sending out notices what specific dates we choose, and the makeup window as of now is May 26th through May 29th. Please.
So the important part too is, and I know that was shared, this is the new pilot one. So they just piloted this in November, and this is the new assessment that is now taking shape for the spring. So the problem with that is that it's also going to be skewing some of our data because it's not the same test. So it's not the same. So again, keeping certain benchmarks that we have internally to be able to, because until we get a couple years of NJS, what do they refer to it as now?
NJSLA now.
NJSLA now, that it's kind of one of those things where we want to keep the balance and the continuity of what we're doing so that we can be looking at growth over time in a reliable and predictable manner.
Absolutely. And that is what's nice about the fact that they made them take them in the fall. Remember that it was supposed to just be a few like a study, what did they call it?
It was a sampling.
A sampling, thank you. And then it turned into full-blown testing. So we do at least have a little bit of a comparison, but we can't compare it to previous years testing, which again is a very valid point. The last thing is Dr. Reynolds is recommending the elimination of Fontes and Pinnell for the 26-27 school year. So I spoke with her on the phone because I was very concerned. What Fontes and Pinnell does for our youngest readers is it gives parents, oh, your child is reading on level A, or your child is reading on level H. So I was concerned with parents not knowing where their child was. We use Dibbles, but that is very different than your reading level. That's more of a dyslexia screening. So what she informed me of, which this I love because it's a program we already have. We have the Being a Reader phonics instruction, that there are sets 1 to 3 are aligned with kindergarten so that parents will still be informed. Apparently sets 4 and 5 are aligned with grade 1 readers. Sets 6 to 10, your child will be on level for grade 2. So as long as I, as a parent, can meet with a teacher and you can say, yes, your child's on grade level, above grade level, or below grade level, I do support this. It's very time-consuming, Fontes and Pinnell, and it really went with our old curriculum. So I thought this was a great balance. I also mentioned a program that I love. It is pricey, though. It is called Achieve, Achieve 3000, I believe. And she would look into it. I think it's an excellent program, but not for our youngest ones. I think more for 3rd grade going up. But it's a fiction, nonfiction program. Ask questions. It's aligned well with NJSL testing. And what that does is it gives a Lexile. And at the end of each month, they'll see their Lexile. Hopefully it's improving as it should be. If not, that's like a red flag right away. And what also is great about Achieve is it has 3 level sets. So then again, you wouldn't need the data from, again, you could argue that there might be some valid points that you wouldn't need, though, that data from the MAP testing. Because now you have 3 level sets throughout the year that is giving you as a parent a Lexile score. And the same thing, there's Lexiles for each grade that the parents would be informed of.
And
I
we did have
definitely
Achieve.
support that.
And
And
I
we'll
think-
talk about Achieve, hopefully. But it is, to put it out there, it's very expensive.
Yeah, and we did have Achieve years ago, and
Okay.
it actually priced it out of the district, and so they just became too expensive for our size because it's not based on like an enrollment type of thing. It's based on licensing, and they don't give a lot of discounts. We tried to work with them.
Right.
So from Achieve, we went to a program called Newzella, which was because
yeah, I know that one.
Achieve. Yeah,
fan
Achieve.
of Newzella.
Achieve did not. Newzella does not do the same thing that
No.
Achieve does. Achieve is a much more robust program. As a matter of fact, when I worked in Brick Township as a supervisor, I was one of the first people in districts that brought Achieve in through a grant through New Jersey Gas. And so I was very familiar with the program and its opportunity for nonfiction, and it has Lexiled and leveled articles that are delivered at students' reading levels, and then they progress through. So I'm very familiar with Achieve
Yes.
3000. It's a valid tool, but it is extremely
Yes.
expensive.
And since then, they've added a lot of fictional. It really started just as nonfiction, but they brought it into nonfiction as well. And there's always questions, and then they even have what's called like a 5-step article, where then they're answering open-ended questions, which matches what they're doing again on state testing. So, there are advantages to that as well. So,
Dr. Gerber, do you remember
that
how,
ends with number 1.
sorry,
Yes.
Dr. Gerber,
No,
do you
please.
remember how successful Achieve was when it was implemented?
So, was it successful? So I think that we were looking for a program that would, provide some Lexiles at the middle school level, but also do supplement in nonfiction. That's what we were looking for because at the time, the literacy programs weren't very robust in nonfiction. So that was something that we were also looking to do in addition to being able, all the things that came with it, I think any program is as good as the fidelity to which it's used. Achieve 3000, like iReady, like iExcel, all the things. There has to be fidelity after the bell. So we are actually looking at different things like that, like iExcel. How can we be encouraging parents? There's programs, there's districts, neighboring districts that use iReady that we explored, that they have 10 minutes a night. Parents need them on. There's requirements for part of that homework component. We're trying to find that balance and working with our school community and looking at, is that a right fit for us for practice, especially working with workbooks and different programs that we have. So it's a little bit of a fine tuning right now of what we're doing. Do I remember being successful? I don't think it was unsuccessful.
Sure.
I just think that it became something that priced itself out of our market right now.
Right.
So.
And that kind of goes back to the whole idea of shared services. I don't know then if towns could work together to try to get a better price, but that's sort of the idea with that. Okay. Nobody does that, but too bad.
From an evaluation perspective, like why would say we go out to like a district that's got the best reading scores
Yeah.
in New Jersey. And we just ask what they're using. Like, don't we know? Wouldn't we have an idea of what
We
they're
would.
using?
We would absolutely do that. So we would do that. Do I know that that's happening? No. I don't think that that's happening. I think it's a tool based on, for if they're using Achieve 3000, if they're using it 20 minutes a day, if they're using all these things. We absolutely look at best practices, which is why we identified iReady, because several districts that had seen improvements were using iReady. Now, that being said, they use it in a different way, in their programming. So we not only just looked at the program, we look at the fit for the community and what their also tolerance is for online learning, for all the things that we're doing. So again, it's a shift. It's refining some of the things that we're doing because we do want to move. We have good teachers working hard. We have bright, engaged families, all the things. So we want to keep moving that needle. And so it's part of what we have to do.
The reading we get, just from the stats that I look at, we get killed just as a school, but we get killed as a state, we get killed as a country too with our reading, right? And they're saying there's a whole bunch of studies that the children going to college can't even read at a collegiate level, right? So like I used to love when the kids would come home and be like, oh, I moved from H to J level.
Yeah.
Like that was cool.
We get so excited.
But obviously it's not working, right? So that's the thing we got to look at. Like, is there, for her recommendation, I'm assuming she'd present this to us as well, but is there like a single point that there's a reason why we would choose one or the other? Is there like, just not to muddy the waters,
Yeah.
but like if you were to simplify things, what would be the difference between, like, number one, why do we want to leave Fontes and Pinnell, and then number two, why would
Yeah,
we have
I
the
could-
Longby?
You want to speak?
I mean, we
Go ahead.
wrote both. But first of all, it really went with an older reading program, and it is incredibly time-consuming. So for the teachers to give up all this instructional time when they're assessing students, and they have to meet with each one individually, I mean, those would be like my two reasons.
Oh, so
I
you're
don't know
saying-
Yeah,
if
I think
you
it's
have
also
anything else you wanna add.
one of the things that we have found, and I'm sure you would understand this too. There's also a lot of subjectivity to F&P evaluations, where there's a lot of rereads or so on, and so you really have to do it with
About,
real.
like frogs and fish.
Well,
and
no,
like,
I
all,
think
like,
that in
come on.
terms of interruptions, if a student's having, in any given assessment, a bad day or knows they can do better, there's a little bit of redoing. So I think that we're looking for something that may have a little bit more reliability with going to that. But to your point, I think a lot of districts are starting to move away from F&P just from the time consuming. I'd rather be able to do quick assessments and get them in a more timely fashion, because when we stop, drop, and F&P assess for weeks, and we actually bring teams or TIP teams or TEP teams in to do some assessments in the background while the teachers are just teaching, because it's more like an assessment team type of style that we use to move through. So we're just trying to, time is the most valuable commodity of any teacher, and we want to be protective of that. And so what can we do to get the results that we want in the most timely and efficient manner that's the most beneficial for the students?
Yeah.
So that's what we look for.
But is there
I-
scorecards or like a way to analyze? Like I
yeah.
imagine it's almost impossible.
Well, that's part of
to
piloting.
compare.
That's
Yeah.
what we do. When we're looking at something, and we not only, first we go on hunt, and we absolutely, through communications like the Monmouth County Curriculum Consortium, the collaborations we have, when you see districts that are making these growths and improvements, like, hey, what are they doing over there that's doing, differently? One of the things they point out in Dr. Reynolds' annual assessment is our scores in science. And while we want to see improvement in science, when you look at them longitudinally, we do very well in comparison. Well, we are one of the only districts that has designated science time in the day. When you're in a classroom and you're trying to prioritize math and language arts, a lot of times science and social studies get compromised.
Absolutely.
They get pushed
I
to
love
the
that.
s-
I
they
love
get
that we
pushed to
have
the
bylaws,
side.
like, yes,
So
and
the
we
fact that we
science
have
teachers,
that was
absolutely.
something that when I came in and my team came in, we said we want to strengthen science. We want to have a designated time, so you can't cut it out of the day. It's scheduled, and that I think is something that truly has an effect. That in our iLab as well, we balance out those standards where kids. So you do look at those model programs, and we've had people come visit us to see what that structure looked like. So with regard to the reading programs, going to being a reader, going to writer, we knew it was time to move away from, our Lucy Calkins type of model of what we were looking at and going into those types of programs. Some of it is also strengthening that professional development, getting teachers really comfortable talking with grammar, about grammar. It's not something that you go in as a content expert when you're the different types of certifications for teachers. When you're a high school teacher, right, you have two majors. You are a major in a content area, English, and secondary education. when you're a generalist, while there are classes and requirements, you are certainly tested in multiple areas, but not in that depth of knowledge. We're trying to strengthen that a little bit because it's not easy. It's not something that if it's, middle school, a high school teacher will have 30 credits in a content area. A middle school teacher is required 15. So it's different. They're different levels, so we want to be continuing to support, and we're shifting a little bit into deeper understanding of content in our PD, as opposed to just programs. Programs come and go. Programs flee. When you have good, solid understanding of content, that's when the schools are just going to really talk about. Correct. So because then you can compare your knowledge of the content to how well it supports a program can then support the content. Is this a good idea?
Because if you think the thing that I have the biggest time comprehending, like you talked about cursive, right? Like I was taught cursive in second grade, right? So now they're starting it in third grade, right? So you look at obviously just the student population, but math continues to innovate, right? Just from an education perspective, and the scores continue to go up in no matter where you are in the country. But reading it's not.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes, and I never want to be that person like in my day. That's not something I ever want to do. But I do want to get return back to what are kids reading, the length and endurance that students have for reading. We're a generation of quick reads. What pops up, what's blogs, what's this, what's that, that kind of thing. And we want information in very short spurts. And so the endurance of reading is also a skill that we try to read. And when they're being tested in scores, part of practice and rehearsing at night and being read to and reading at home, and that's all not just practice and reading, it's endurance of reading and paying attention to be able to have, when people say pay attention, no one teaches us how to pay attention, they just expect you to do it. But being able to focus and comprehend and being able to interpret what you're doing is also a skill that's taught through reading practice. So that is something that I think we also want to get back to. So we're battling that a little bit, and that's a cultural shift as we're seeing short spurts of information and things that come out. They want to read a text message as opposed to a letter. They want to read, all of those kinds of things. Yeah. And so I think, and I don't want to, your experience is to value, but it's even adults. You're like, I don't want to read this. It's like people will say, I don't.
To an executive, you write in an F because the human reads in an F. They don't read the bottom line.
Right.
So when they say if you ever want to bury a body, you put it on the second page of the Google search page. Right. That's what it is. People don't go to the next page. So when you look at those programs, is there a way that us as a district, or I'm sure there's someone out there that's trying to push different type of innovative programs. Are you getting bombarded by that stuff?
Well, you can, absolutely. There's always someone who wants to sell you something that's going to make your kids great. And so at the end of the day, though, that is part of our process as we're looking at something and say, listen, this doesn't add anything to what we're already doing. At the core of what we're doing, it's the teachers, right? And their knowledge and understanding and ability to take the standards, do their magic, and do what people do every day in the classrooms, transition it, and find a program that really helps first when they're younger, develop that concept of learning to read, and then third grade reading to learn, because then you're taking the skill and you're seeking out information, right? So really being able to cultivate those skills, and what program hits all the points that lay a strong foundation of those fundamental skills, without a doubt. So that's what we look for. We look for those, we've looked at a couple programs for Math Tip. And then you look at it and you go, yeah, that's not a good fit for our program. And, because we feel Envisions is a robust program. Envisions has that. We don't need something like that. So we're always looking at, and we're also looking at it in response to student data. In what areas? We knew that writing, we were lacking some of the major conventions in our program. So that's what being a writer focuses heavily on grammar and conventions. So that's what that's what we bring forward. The data does tell us a lot. The data tells a lot.
This is the subject that I feel like, it's my own personal opinion, obviously, but that we got to spend time.
Absolutely. This is the core of educating our children.
We'll never win an award as a district unless we fix this category. So kudos to you for looking at it. Thanks.
Thank you. One last thing I just want to address what Vinny brought up. I just want to explain something with iReady. So there's iReady, the testing model, and then there's iReady, the curriculum. I actually had the privilege of teaching the iReady math curriculum, and it's excellent. I don't think it's better or worse than Savvis. It's just a different program. But it is a great program. I have nothing negative to say, and I'm sure the testing model is just as strong. But it's just, again, it's where we want to put our money, and do we want it more in testing or more in how to better our curriculum, because there's only so much money, right? And I'm more for the bettering, improving our curriculum aspect. So, but I'm very open to Dr. Reynolds presenting, and then we could ask very specific questions like you did. Okay, so that wraps up curriculum, so thank you.
I just want to add something.
Unless-
I know, and this is just my observation because I'm so lucky that I get to be CC'd on everybody's emails here, so I'm involved in everybody's business. But I know, Mrs. Camera, you and Dr. Reynolds and Dr. Garibay had some exchanges prior to the meeting, and I know, it seemed a little bit, maybe there's a disconnect here. I just want to make sure that we're all following what we should be doing as board members. I don't know if you want to speak to this. I just felt there was like a little disconnect on what you felt you were responsible for doing and what, as board members, were required to do.
Okay,
So,
yep.
I don't know
I'm gonna
whether.
just bring up my email, so
Yeah,
I
I just
have
want
it.
to make sure that, maybe the three of us can sit down and have a meeting later this week, just to go over the specifics that you mentioned, and then this week we could get clarity on it. I don't know if you want to add to any of that, but what our brief discussion, I didn't have time to really speak to you in detail about this, but from what you conveyed to me, I don't know if you want to touch on that.
Sure,
Briefly, please, so we can.
Yeah,
get the-
sure. And I think that the point from Mrs. Cameron, unless you want to lead the conversation, one of the things we talked about was about informing the board and keeping the board informed about pilots and things. And there was a little bit of a question regarding the timing and being able to talk about pilots that are being put into place. And that's what I mean in maybe level setting and having conversations, because by statute of 18A, part of the role of the superintendent is to be investigating and looking for new things that we're doing to keep moving the district forward. And so if there's a bigger conversation about approval prior to us investigating things, I do have a concern with that, because I do think that halts progress if everything that we look at to potentially explore becomes a board discussion and or an approval. And I think that also falls outside of the parameters of a Board of Education. Pilots don't change curriculum, because curriculum is absolutely approved by the Board of Education. It doesn't, it's an investigation and an inquiry into something like that. So I do feel that I want us to have a very collaborative conversation about governance, which is oversight, but there also are statutory components that are administrative, and making sure that moving forward as a board, we are comfortable in understanding what those roles and responsibilities are and decision-making, because that's part of my role as a superintendent, is to be moving those forward and being able to work with the board to explore and then make those recommendations. Because one of the things, as part of a recommendation that you make in a program, and a staff member, and a technology, you're vetting that process out and you're bringing a recommendation forward because you've done that homework, because you're making, you're looking, you're exploring, you're trying, you're doing all of those things. That is part of my statutory responsibility and operations of the district. And so understanding that and really appreciating each other's roles, but also wanting to make the board feel comfortable. And I know you made a reference to, a trust and transparency. That was part of what I also completely agree with that goal, that I always want to be transparent about how we are presenting and looking at things. Part of our district, I think every year I've been a superintendent almost, a district goal is looking at increasing student achievement. To be able to do that and explore within the purview of my role as a superintendent with the administration and teachers, I think is important. And I think teachers, do play an essential role in providing opinions about what's happening, and we should not be moving forward without teacher opinion and things. I think their implementation of things in the classroom is essential to buy-in and the success of any program. It's a big difference. In my style of leadership never constitutes a top-down model. The best ideas in this district have come from teachers and staff members. And exploring and saying, hey, I think this might be a good fit. Could you take a look at that? And that is a long-standing, valued practice of the educators in this district, and I don't think we would want to stifle that in any way, shape, or form.
All right, so why don't we do this? This week, depending on Mrs. Camera's schedule and yours as well, we could sit down and have a little more detailed on what the role is in this particular. This way we could get on the same page and there's not, a little bit of disconnect through those emails I saw.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move on because we have a lot to cover. Let's go, we have a few things. So Finance Department, Co-chair Jason Arico and co-chair Mr. Scarpa. Can you guys start with your reports?
Yeah, I'll be brief with the pre-K enterprise program for 2026 and 2027, then I'm gonna let Vince take over real quick. So, that tuition is gonna be, $9,000 per child. And that's, I believe, our break-even point, right, Vince? So,
It's very close.
very close to our break-even point, which is good for everybody. And I believe there's about 35 spots for this coming year as well. And then I'll let Vince take it from there, unless, Brian, you have anything? Yeah, you're good, Vince. Go ahead.
Just a few more things about the program. Like you said, it's, we're offering a full-day program for 3- and 4-year-olds, 5 days per week. It is based on space available for 35 students, and it's a full array of programming, as Dr. Garibay can speak to. It has enrichment. There are 3 sections with a teacher and an aide, as well as all these other enrichment opportunities. Thank you. I was struggling for a word there, but yes. And so we are fortunate to have some balance in the enterprise fund from prior years, and we landed on a fee of $9,000 for tuition, which is very competitive for this area in terms of preschool programs. So full day, yes. Which, that was on the approval earlier. It's, what's the times? It's a full day program. Full day program.
And to Mr. Rico's point, the last time I think it was 4 minutes, all spots were gone. So there's the we have our open house, and then after the open houses, yeah, I think the date was on there.
It was registration started at 9:30 and it ended just before 9:34.
Correct. That's correct. So that is correct. It is first come, first serve, and it is.
It's first come, first serve. I mean, if you weren't logged on by 9 o'clock and waiting, forget it. Like you were done. You were done.
Yeah, the open house is Thursday, February 19th, and registration usually starts the next day after with everything. So that'll be advertised. We'll proceed with the advertising and whatnot with that. So that, I think, provides a lot of validity in research of our programs and what we do. So it's a value program, and we're looking forward to continuing that with our families.
That's testament to the quality of the program, right? That's fantastic. We're in budget season. We're going to start carving through this. We'll work with the administrative and Vince primarily as we carve through the particulars. Again, we have a whole slew of opportunities to discuss for our facilities. We will carve into them on a case by case and come up with a fantastic plan. I'm absolutely optimistic about it. If I may skip over to negotiations, that's a piece here, Andrew, if that works with you.
Yeah, it's fine, definitely, yeah.
We have a couple of meetings coming up with the Transport Workers Union of America, and as well as the Colesec Township Administration Association. These are 2 cyclical negotiations for their contracts that are in queue for this year. So we'll be scheduling some time with them very shortly, one before the other, and then go through the particulars and have a fantastic conversation and come up with an agreement. So we're going to be very busy with negotiations, and then carving into our finance agenda for the rest of, as we're close to the end of June. Anything else I missed?
Sure.
This is going to provide lay some groundwork, yeah.
Just to set the table as far as budget goes, what some facts are as we know right now. 4 quick things. One is that from the audit presentation that we had, we know that this year we're using approximately $1.4 million as revenue for the 26-27 budget, and that was up from $545,000 the prior year. Okay. Number 2 is you have, based on the budget software that was recently made available to all the districts, is we have available banked cap for this year. You have additional taxing authority of approximately $1.2 million. And again, that is the difference between what your eligible tax levy cap is versus what you set your tax levy at. Each year, the difference is that banked ability to use 3 years henceforth under the law. So you have ability to do that. Now, that goes into tax impact and what ratables are. So as of right now, from the tax assessor, we have preliminary 2026 net valuation taxable of approximately $4.8 billion. That's up from 4.5 in the prior year. So the trend has been steadily rising ratables in this town. And
It's because of increased tax evaluation and appraisals of our home.
sure. There's been a rapid rise in just, increasing
Yeah, correct.
value.
That's correct. Yeah.
The trend. So, I'm sorry?
No, 300
Billion.
Oh, you're doing the whole.
Yeah.
Oh,
4.8 billion is the preliminary value this year versus 4.5
yeah,
last year.
yeah. So, yeah, 4.5
So it's
last year.
360-something million.
Yeah, and then
approximately.
4.8 and change, right. So it's north of 350 billion. I mean, sorry,
Million.
350 million.
Yep, yep. And, again, it could, in theory, have a lower tax rate because you're spreading your tax levy. In other words, all things being equal, if you were to keep the levy equal, you're spreading it over a much larger base, which lowers the rate.
Yes.
However, it doesn't necessarily mean there's a lower tax impact.
No.
Because why? You have
Depends on how
assessed
much you
values
increase it. Exactly
because you're
right.
applying perhaps that
Yes.
smaller rate to a ever-growing assessed value, which we don't know yet, but
Yeah.
that will ultimately impact your tax rate.
Yeah, so the Colts Neck tax rate a few years ago was 1.77%. I think this year, I double check with the tax assessor every single year, but I believe this year it's around 1.35, around there, right? But with that being said, when you increase $360 million, and you could lower it they could lower it to the point where it could even out and it could stay the same, but that's not what happened. And yeah, it's extra money for the
So-
township.
Thank you. And of course, we don't know any direction yet on state aid. That will come out after the governor's budget address around February 25th or 26th. So stay tuned. There's a lot of moving parts during this time
Yeah, I'm
between
sure.
now and
Thank you.
adoption of the tentative budget, which is slated for March 18th. Thank you.
So Mr. Marasco and I were going to reach out to Mr. Scarpa and Mr. Rico about setting up, do you want to wait? Last year, we had meetings before the CAL meetings, how we want to proceed with coming together. We, the department chairs, building principals, budget managers, as you say, their respective budgets, are putting their finishing touches in the new systems that we've had. So going through that, we've had budget admin meetings where Mr. Marasco has been walking people through the new systems and training everybody in how to do that. So thank you, Mr. Marasco and your team, for putting in all that time to do that. And so we start our one-on-one, how our processes work, we start our one-on-one budget reviews, which each one in the new systems, starting next week. So we'll have a good picture of a very big bucket, right? And then you're looking at the different buckets and moving things around. So that's where we are in our operational processes right now. So if we wanted to get together, we can send an email to you, then the respective committee, to say how do we want the conversations to be.
Okay, can we do it before a RAM meeting?
Yeah, we can. No, it doesn't. We can do it, absolutely. We can do it
Let's
anytime
do
you
that.
want. We can do it anytime we want. If we want to do
before a
that,
RAM meeting, yeah.
that's fine. We can do it at the next one. We want
That's fine. Yep.
as a touching base point, as to where we are right now in the process of things. I think it's more. Okay, great. And just like Mr. Marasco said, the adoption of the tentative budget, the last day is the 19th. We have a board meeting on the 18th. So that will give them time to, that's what we're aiming for, is that meeting, that RAM
Say
meeting.
that last part again, please.
We're aiming for March 18th for
March
the
18th,
adoption from the
tentative
tentative
budget,
budget, correct.
And then the final budget,
May,
May.
for
May-
the first meeting in May, 4th,
Mid-May.
is it 4th?
It is
I want to say it May
May 3rd.
3rd, I'm always
No,
off.
no, no. Excuse me, May 6th is.
May 6th will be the presentation, the public presentation, the adoption of the final budget.
Very good, okay. And in between that time, obviously, we have the opportunity to make adjustments as needed
Slight.
between the tentative budget and final, within reason.
Yeah.
You can.
In addition, the county is reviewing all budgets during that period of time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
based on that review and further discussions, you have the ability to legally make a change at the public hearing.
Excellent. Very good, thank you.
Okay, so that concludes the finance. All right, so the last thing we have, I believe, is policy. So, Mr. Scales, if you want to take that.
Yep, just some color here. Some questions about bullet point 1 there. Proposed change in liaison name from Colts Neck Township Board of Education Parent Advisory Committee, the PAC, if you will, to the Colts Neck Township Board of Education Parent Information Form. So just from a formality perspective, just to address the 2 communications that we had come in, we follow what's called the Roberts Rules of Orders. It's just under that name. It's not named after. But what it is, obviously, it's one of the the strongest rules of order to follow, how to govern a board. The Parental Advisory Committee is not a committee under those orders. So committees are typically duly elected and appointed individuals of groups between 3 and 11. And typically what a committee does is it provides oversight and it exercises limited decision-making authority. That's not what the PAC does. So I won't go into the content of that because you manage that, President Volpe, but that's essentially what it is from our perspective as well, too. I don't think anything is proposed to be changed in how that's delivered. We're not silencing anyone's voices. We're not changing. We're not eliminating feedback. There's no one-way communication. This is, again, strictly from a formality perspective, just so we're following what an actual definition is and just being more accurate in how we communicate with with our people. So, but yeah, so essentially, we need to be consistent. So as a board, you'll see there too in the second bullet point as well, just the transfer of the Colts Neck arts, sports, and extracurricular from a board committee to a liaison. It's not a committee here, it's a liaison role. So we're just cleaning, little house cleaning on that. So are there any questions, comments, concerns on either of those 2 bullet points? Any color to add from either?
No, unfortunately, Mrs. Horowitz isn't here.
Yeah.
I always like to include her because she plays a big role in this parental information form to be.
Yeah.
So I'd like her to put some input, whatever she feels when she returns.
Sure.
But like I said, I know there was disappointment with ending the daytime meeting, but
Yep, okay, yeah.
it's very difficult. I can't tell you the amount of hours that I put in. I think Dr. Garabay can actually vouch the amount of time I'm in this building. I'm on the phone with her. I stick my nose in every single committee that's here. I think you guys all know that. I'm always, filling in where people can't show up. So, and I have home obligations myself, so it's not feasible for me to be here during the day. And I know it was a big conflict with Sarah, where she was leaving her job, coming here. So out of respect, for what we do as volunteers, I can't rightfully, commit us any longer. So once again, at nighttime, we're going to keep that. The Board of Education, we have our bi-monthly meetings. This floor is always opened for
Yeah.
gripes, questions, comments, suggestions, and we absolutely always make a priority to hear those things. So I'll speak in more detail with Sarah, and then we'll move forward with changing that name.
Cool.
Okay?
Excellent.
All right, at this time, let me just
We
make
just
sure.
had one more, sorry.
Oh, I'm
number
sorry,
2.
what did I
Yeah,
miss?
no, that's kind of important. So.
My
Yeah,
eyes
Dr.
are.
Gervais will take that. We're almost done.
So very quickly, we're still in that process of transitioning, and just know that we have a big lift, and it is where I'm finishing up some of the edits and recommendations and transfer of important custom language that for some reason didn't transfer over when school boards provided us with the new policy manual. So every department we divided and conquered, and we are looking at the exact languages, like, so for example, like eligibility to attend school. There was some language that was missing that we felt was important. So we're keeping track of the docs. I'll share that with the full board of what was transferred over, what wasn't transferred over, the edits that were made. That's all being finalized very soon. The bylaws, I think, have been shared in the updates that have come out every week. If we can get the stamp of approval, because then our next step with Mr. Scales is working directly with school boards, because we have board docs. Board docs will become our new online platform that we'll be able to do easier searches on and whatnot, and it becomes a little bit more user-friendly to not just us, but also the public. But we can't do that until the edited policy manuals have the stamp of approval and they are adopted by the Board of Education. So within probably the next month or two, we're going to be doing a huge, saying, hey, let's if we can divide and conquer and say, Mrs. Cameron, you want to lead and read the review and looking at, I know they've already gone through Dr. Reynolds' eyes, but just from parents to be like, yep, these are all the things that we're doing. And knowing that we can continue after the big umbrella adoption is done and we just say, yep, these are all the new policies and we're moving on with the new numbers, we can always go back and revise and revisit things that we want to come back to. But there's been a lot of cross-referencing. The crosswalk is in there, so we're literally navigating back and forth between two policies and stuff. So just know that that's coming, and at the end of the day, the admin have put eyes on it, and now it's just about a formal adoption and rolling everything forward so that we can just implement our new program.
I think you may have already addressed this, and I may have just missed it. So are we currently still paying Strauss
No,
Esme?
no.
Okay, so that completely
No,
ended.
no, that ended
Okay.
last year. So
Okay.
what we did was, because we weren't ready for the conversion yet,
Right.
you'll notice that our old policies should have Strauss Esme's headings and things on it. So
Right.
our policies don't have that anymore.
Okay.
So they're listed literally as PDF documents they're referencing to. It's not necessarily easy on the back end to be finding things as easily. So we need to get these new policies into the system for an efficiency point of view. We make daily references to policies and quotings and things, and also public access, board access. So this board docs through school boards and talking about the manual that they're advertising, we have all of that and it's ready to go. So once we adopt and do hey, we're ready to go, we're just going to push it all through, they will help us with that loading and the setting up of board docs, which will be housed very similar to how our old system was in our website, so that people will be able to look and search. There are several districts that use board docs.
My district uses
yes,
board
they do,
docs, and
yeah.
it's incredibly user-friendly.
Yes.
And I think parents will appreciate it.
Yes.
I love it. It actually was much harder when I started being on the board, going to the way we do it. So I
Yes.
think it will be very positive
Yeah.
and just a wonderful way to, again, improve our communications.
Yeah, so I think we just have to kind of work together to pull it across the finish line at this
Okay.
point. So I think that's what we have to do. We're almost there. It's a lot, and we just have to pull it across and be done with the project and move forward.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so we are going to, we don't discuss that, right?
Yeah, these are just FYI heads up coming on the RAM that's coming.
All right, okay, so we're coming to the end of our meeting. We're gonna open the floor for one last time for comments. Anybody like to get up, make a comment, question about our meeting tonight, you're welcome to do so. Just state your name and address for the record.
Alan Ryan, 24 Ann Street. At a previous meeting, there was a discussion of a trip to Washington.
Yes,
DC.
I have some information on that, but I let you finish your addressing us
And,
first.
well, you know the great time we had. I think the kids will have a great time. If parent chaperones can go, I would say go, because you're going to see your kids differently, and it's a blast. It really is. A real good time. That's it.
Well, I just want to ask you, Dr. Garibay is going to chime in with this. I advocated for this strongly because it's something I really wanted. My daughter to experience. Even though we took her, and we had VIP entrance to the White House, and we were able to see all that and give her that opportunity. But I wanted to make sure that we gave it to her class and
Right.
the future classes. And when you had brought it up, it gave me even more motivation. So, in working with Dr. Garibay, and she'll, like I said, speak to this, we did our best, but unfortunately, and I'm so sad to report that we were unable to make it happen for this year because it wasn't enough time. By the time we set up a plan and we called the company, the dates were filling up, and the dates that were available were the week of our graduation and NJSLA testing, and unfortunately, it was such a big disappointment. But we have good news for next year, so I'm going to let her speak to that.
So we are looking into it. You know, it's a work in progress. It is, you know, when we were looking at Stokes, that was a year in the making, you know, and bringing it back. And while it was a trip, it was also 10, 15 years ago that it was done. And so we have to reset and look at it. There's parent interest, there's staff, you know, oversight. There's working directly. We are working with a travel company that has this that other districts in the area use. There's an itinerary, so those are the things. But the actual logistics, and also polling parents, you know, that's the next step of it, and looking at it from bringing the trip to fruition. So we too, to quote what I just said, we are looking to pull it and bring it to fruition. We have to go
Nice.
through the necessary procedures and steps that we all want to do a trip,
That's
but we have
great.
to make sure, because it isn't a free trip. You know, we're going to
No,
be
yeah.
telling, you know, there is a substantial cost outlay, so we also want to provide some opportunity for fundraising and all the things that go along with that. So all of those things are going to come out in communication with parents as we're presenting it to them as the options.
Nice.
So it's in works.
think
It's
we-
in the
You
works.
think
That's
we
great.
can commit to next year?
It's in the works.
That's great.
It's in the
I'm going
works.
to really try to make this happen. We'll see.
Absolutely.
It's in the works.
So
It's gonna
it
be a
is a great
ball.
opportunity, really.
We had a great time. We
I
really did.
know, I know.
A lot of fun. These kids will
We
enjoy
are
it. And
so
it's a memory that
disappointed.
nobody will forget, I'll tell you that.
What's that?
Yes.
It's a memory that nobody,
Yeah,
the
I
kids
know.
and
I
the
agree.
parents, and even the teachers included, will not forget. Because
I
there's always
agree.
something that goes on, and it just sticks out. And, well,
I don't think anyone's more disappointed than Angelique and I having
Yeah.
8th graders.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then
we were-
missing the cutoff.
I hear you, I
Yes.
hear you, I hear you.
So-
All right, thank you
But
for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan, always, yep, thank you for coming. All right, we're gonna, well, I want to continue giving the floor, please, if anybody wants to get up, make comments, suggestions, or questions about tonight or anything else. Anybody want to get up and share anything? All right, seeing none, we are going to close public comment. Let's open up our last thing of the evening for new business. If anybody wants to bring up new business, welcome to do so.
At the December 17th, first I wanted to say this is only coming from me. This is a personal statement. This does not reflect anyone else on the board. Okay, at the December 17th, 2025 meeting, I voted in favor of approving the revised Colts Neck Township Board of Education Facilities Use Fee Schedule effective January 2026. While I did vote yes at the time, I am now formally requesting that my vote be rescinded. Sometimes an idea appears sound on paper, but the real impact becomes clearer once the ripple effects are felt within the community. My intention was never to make it more difficult for the Sports Foundation, the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, or other community organizations to access our facilities, nor was it my intent to force the Recreation Department to increase fees, which I hope doesn't happen, in order to cover additional costs charged by the district. I ran for this position because I genuinely believe in putting children first and in educating the whole child, which includes to me academics, athletics, arts, clubs, and enrichment opportunities. After the board became aware of the obstacles this revised fee schedule created, Board Member Jason proposed what only I believe to be a fair and thoughtful alternative. However, the process has shifted to having members of the Buildings and Ground Committee negotiate separately with each group. So I believe we created a problem and are now managing its consequences. I would, again, be open to classifying these organizations as Class A users, which eliminates fees altogether because these programs exist for the benefit of our children. At the same time, though, I recognize that the custodial staff and the building personnel must be compensated fairly, and any solution must account for those legitimate costs. For these reasons, I want to offer my sincere apology to our community for what I believe was my mistake. On December 17th, the item was added to the agenda at the last minute, which has always been a long-standing concern of mine. I have repeatedly asked that items not be added on the day of a meeting and that the board members be given at least 24 hours notice. While this item did appear in the superintendent's update multiple times, I personally conduct a far more thorough review of items when it's formally listed on the agenda. And in this instance, I did not. I take full responsibility. So for that, I take full responsibility and apologize to the community for a vote which I regret how I voted. So I just want to state that, and I understand the other argument, and I don't disagree that we have not updated this. Prior boards have never updated this schedule, but it is something that it has been really bothering me, and I regret my vote. So I just wanted to share that. So. Thank you.
I'd like to
Yeah.
thank you so much for, putting your apology out there. I just want to clarify, the fee schedule that was unanimously voted on by this board was thoroughly discussed. Buildings and Grounds Chair, Mr. Walsh, acting in unison with Mr. Moretta, our BA, the superintendent, revisited this topic over multiple weeks, going over the cost to run these facilities, and basically brought it forth to the board several times. I do understand you're mentioning that it was added to the agenda, but I disagree with you. This was brought up so many times. There was plenty of times to put in. But what happened here is we as a board did the right thing. We all appreciated the fact that the fee schedule was not updated, and we were getting killed as a district. Do we want to piss people off by increasing fees? Of course not. We value, and I can't stress it enough, we value the Sports Foundation. I absolutely value. I can't see anybody here not valuing keeping a great contract and just respect for them. But as board president, I can't rightfully say we are going to favor certain groups because people feel the heat and don't want to have problems in an election or feel that there's going to be backlash. I took an oath when I got voted in to protect this district, make sound, fiscally responsible decisions which benefit the district as a whole. So I can't willingly say, and I must say, I'm very pleased with the negotiations that the Sports Foundation agreed to. And I hope that our communication last night was genuine. I feel that they realized that they're two very intelligent men dealing with finances themselves, and realizing that the cost that we incur to have the Sports Foundation here, it's just not invisible. There is cost, and I support the decision that we made, and I'm going to leave an opportunity for you guys to chime in, as I do feel bad that you feel that way, Mrs. Cameron, but I do not favor certain groups because of their position in the town. I believe I do the right thing. I govern effectively and with integrity. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to add something.
Yeah, I absolutely support the vote that was made on December 17th and the platform by which we got there. To your point, this was a conversation long in the tooth. It was well planned out and vetted for quite a while, and we actually did the proper market research to support a new fee schedule. Now, keep in mind, prior boards have not revisited this fee schedule in north of 10 years. So it is our obligation to have a fiduciary responsibility to all our facilities to support them through the infrastructure, especially from a financial obligation. Keep in mind, the past few years, I think we've all noticed 30 to 40% increases in our utilities alone. So that alone brings the conversation to the table, let alone, don't forget, we have the obligation to our custodial fees. None of this is an opportunity to generate excess profit for the program. We actually, for the school, this is actually to cover costs. The lens was to cover costs from day one and continues to be through yesterday. I actually will argue that the meeting on December 17th and the vote of all 9 of us brought us to the table yesterday for a productive meeting to strategize a long-term go-forward opportunity with a very valued partner. We represent the Board of Education. We don't represent any third party that's out there renting our facilities or using them for the students. Now, granted, these are largely Colts Neck students, and we respect that. That's why we came to the tables and said, let's figure this out, because we want to make sure that our relationship with you continues to be strong. The result of yesterday's meeting was everything that and more. You know, it was a solid conversation. I'm very, very excited about the future obligations for both the schools and our programs by which we support, including the foundation, and continue to support what we did on December 17th. We presented that in a very transparent manner. There was all the fee schedules were completely vetted out with this board multiple times. It was not a last-minute adjustment. It was a last-minute addition. As a matter of fact, it was constantly on, then it was off for a while. And we said we have to get this through so that we hit our obligations for January so that we can have the proper level meetings. In addition, as it relates to the Sports Foundation, their rate is not impacted through June 30th. We were actually go so far as to grandfather prior relationships that we had with them through June 30, and we stood behind that. This is a go-forward strategy that we'll continue to support. Ms. Cameron, you made a mention about conversations about the buildings and grounds being conducted behind scenes. Absolutely not. On the contrary, Transparency 101 with the sport. It has always been that way. I've mentioned before, welcome to transparency, welcome to this new Board of Education. This is how we conduct business. Obviously, we're here in committee as a whole meeting to have this level of conversation, but this is a culmination of prior conversations that we had throughout the weeks. Now, I certainly appreciate your opinion, but I absolutely support the decision and strongly encourage the relationship between the foundation and other facilities that want to rent out our program.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Rico, yeah.
I do agree with Phyllis Camara. It was an oversight on my part on December 17th. I believe that I thought that the Colts Neck Foundation and Rec was under a Schedule A, which still has some charges, some, but with that being said, Angelique, I agree with you that we have to be fiscally sound on the finance chair, co-chair with Brian, and I also believe that having an amazing relationship with the Colts Neck Sports Foundation, the Colts Neck Rec Foundation, the Colts Neck Summer Camp, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you name it, anything with the Colts Neck in front of it, and that's the reason why, thankfully we were able to come to the negotiating table and, give an amazing discount to those foundations, to the rec program and everything. It was an oversight on my part when I voted yes for December 17th, because if I had reviewed the schedule an hour before it came out on the for vote, I would have realized that it was under a B schedule rather than the A schedule. And it was a mistake on my part. It was an oversight on my part. If I would have known that we would have had to come to the negotiation tables at all with these programs, I wouldn't have voted for it personally. But with that being said, things are being worked out, and, having these, negotiating with these foundations and these rec programs, hopefully will make our relationship even stronger with them. So, but that's what I have to say, and I do, agree with a lot of what Phyllis Camara said. So.
Mr. Ignato.
Angelique, with the
Yes,
meeting that you guys had the other day that seemed to be successful,
yes, last night, actually.
last night,
Yes.
will we be doing a restructure of that schedule for them?
They are going to have a blended schedule, and like I said, we agreed on a fantastic number for them, and it's going to give them a full range of the facilities for the entire week. So not only did they get a better rate, they're getting full range of the facilities for a week. So there's not nickel and diming janitorial fees for Saturday, 4 hours here. It's a blended schedule, so they can come and go. And we're going to speak more in detail with them. That's why we recommended, I don't know who brought it up, about having open communications, quarterly meetings, so we could sit. I mean, I've never met anybody from the Sports Foundation. I'll be honest, I never did. And coming to the table, like Jason said, coming to the table, even though it was a little heated to try to figure out how we were going to go about doing it, in the end, it benefited everybody. And the Sports Foundation, I do believe, realized the position we're in. We're not here to screw our counterparts in town. But as a board, we have to realize that we're responsible to collect on a service we're giving, and we're doing it fairly, and I'm proud of that. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything
Will
to
we have
that.
to do a vote on an amendment for what you guys discussed yesterday?
Well, we're going to give it to them, but we're going to keep the fee schedule we voted on for people that are coming in the
Sure.
door. That fee schedule, like Jason said, he didn't realize it was going to affect this, but that fee schedule that the Buildings and Grounds worked on for months is going to stay in place. And then, like I said, we
provided a very generous discounted program due to the longevity of their program with our facilities, of which they were very appreciative for. So without this action, there would have been no meeting yesterday. So you think about it this way, so this is an opportunity to bring parties to the table and say, oh, that makes sense. On the contrary, after the meeting, they were very appreciative of our time. They said, this level of clarity brings a new level of attention to our program, and we even provided opportunities for them to go about marketing their program too. So, and keep in mind, this is strictly the basketball environment. Okay, this is not this is as it relates to the renting of the facility. It's basketball, but it's all three facilities. It's quite intensive. I can certainly get into more of the particulars and Mr. Walsh can certainly too as well, as relates to what they're physically using and the demand stressed on the infrastructure. It was a great conversation, and I'm very, very glad we had it. I'm extremely excited about the
Was there a
opportunity
new
going
fee
forward.
amount that was agreed to last night?
What's that?
yes.
Okay,
yes,
so will we have to re-vote on that?
No, because it's just a blended, right? It's a
Okay.
blended. Well, I do want to,
It's keeping to the same rate that we all approved, at the same fee schedule, with a discounted opportunity on a blended program, because they do use it on weekday and weekends. They're a unique program because they use it throughout the 7
Right.
days.
Practice
So
and
we
games,
made we made a concession based upon a blended program.
Yeah, I just want to add another comment. Oh, I'm sorry.
I would recommend, based on just thinking about out loud, I would recommend that we do something in the actual policy that talks about, I know that when we were doing the research and looking at other policies, it says a separate fee schedule
Well, that
is
was gonna be
maintained.
my
So I
comments,
think we
yeah.
probably want to,
So we
for
just-
future boards, it would just be a simple line in the policy that
Well, I
says a
was
separate fee schedule is maintained. Not necessarily a
in
B1
B.
schedule, but just saying a separate one, and then the modifications or whatever is at the terms. We have to, we can formally, we have to be able to formally implement a new something like that.
State was very
Yeah.
transparent in this whole process for fee schedule. Every board member had an opportunity for months to review
Correct.
the information I put out and for feedback. We were all welcome to criticize it, change it, and I didn't hear back from anybody. So, and it wasn't a last-minute vote.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah,
months
it
in the
definitely
making.
was not, there's misinformation going on
With
here. It
that
was
being
not a last-minute
said,
vote.
this Sports Foundation meeting was positive. With board members that came in that were in big disagreement. But as a board, we worked together, and we carved out a great opportunity for the Sports Foundation and our district to work together and have all the kids come and use our facilities every day. So, it was a little acrimonious, heated, a lot of back and forth between a few board members, but I'm very proud of our board committee that worked through this and made it happen.
Yeah, I'll tie it back to the
go
policy
ahead.
real quick, because to both of your statements, which we hear you loud and clear, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. The rate schedules that we had before weren't even followed correctly. We didn't even have the right things written into the policy. So to Dr. Garabay's point, all now moving forward, we're a scalable policy, we're a scalable board where everyone can follow the same foundation, because we now have to write it in that they're going to be following a certain fee schedule, like you had mentioned before, if we would have, that was it was based on previous boards, they didn't have that information. Things were not written in stone, as to you were just saying as well. But this is, fiscal responsibility. It causes uncomfortable behavior. And I would, put it out there to everyone in town that anyone who uses the school or anyone that negotiates or works with the school, like, we're all a community, and we know what's happening in our community. Taxes have gone up, like you said, costs have gone up, expenses have gone up. There's not anyone in here that's going to, like you said, get special treatment of it. We're in this together. We're going to have over 450 new kids that come in to the school. So things need to be updated, but more importantly, things need to be sound so it doesn't cause this friction. But friction creates energy. Like you said, that's the best part of a formal negotiation, is to kind of, all you have to do is someone has to speak first. Then once you speak first, there's a foundation for everyone to work off of as well too. But again, the message that I want to deliver is that everyone who works with the school board is gonna have to pay their fair share, because as a community and together, there can't be one entity in town that foots the burden and has more pressure on their shoulders. You're seeing the decisions that we were just talking about removing the state funding for education, right? Removing and adding in more developments. Everything is going to be fiscal pressure. So what I would encourage as well is there's going to be many more uncomfortable decisions that we're all going to have to make, but make your voices clear like you just did today, because that was fantastic. So thank you.
I want to add an additional comment about Mrs. Camera's comment that the meetings were done in a secretive way. First of all, you just made an insinuation that it was done secretively. The first meeting, when this went down initially, Mr. Whitberg, you had called me and you had just questioned. You just said, hey, what's going on? They got the schedule, since you serve on both boards. So you respectfully called me and just said, hey, what's going on? They got this huge raise and whatnot. So to de-escalate it and to make the Sports Foundation know that as president of this board, I'm going to reach out to you right away. And I did. My first available day, I asked Dr. Garibay to meet with me. So I met on my own with you and Mr. Moretta and the two gentlemen from the Sports Foundation. It wasn't in secret. It was just to basically say, I apologize that you weren't notified earlier about this. I don't even know how they found out. No one from the board conveyed this to them earlier. So I'll take full blame. So I apologized, and I said, we're going to negotiate something. We're going to take a percentage off. Let's keep the conversation open. Is that how it went? I just want to make sure you were there. So, and we had a nice conversation. But once again, I didn't have the full team there. The second time around, I called a Buildings and Grounds meeting. I let Rich know, since he is conflicted. It's true, he's conflicted. He serves on both boards, so I'm not going to put him in a position dealing with finances. So, Mr. Rico, you said you couldn't make it that night, so I tapped Rob Scales to join us. So, I don't remember the date.
It was last Tuesday, or when we did the tour, last Thursday.
Oh, that's right. We were at the Mrs. Jones's Naval Weapons Station. So we were here. I mean, I was at the school, I think, all damn day. Anyway, so we went from there, and me and Brian walked right into that meeting. And then you came from work, and then I tapped Rob because Rob was unaware. Mrs. Cameron knew the situation. Rob had really no idea. So I got another ear to join us. So it wasn't anything secretive. And then, like I said, last night, we had the two finance chairs, the Buildings and Grounds chairs, and once again, myself. And like I said, I think it went very well. I'm looking forward to it. But I just want to make it clear that I never hide anything. People know me. When I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right in front of the public, and I really don't care. I just don't. So I feel bad that you felt that I did something secretly, but I didn't. I'm going to add one last
more
thing.
thing just
Yeah.
to memorialize where we're at. So the end result, we are going to get a contract between and a DocuSign contract between the parties, so that they have an appreciation of the schedule and what they're going to be paying. So we're going to be working that out. Of course, providing that to the business office, make sure that that's properly in place, effective post 6:30. So we'll work on that as we proceed forward with the formal formal rental relationships.
I did reread what I wrote. I do not feel, but it could be, misconstrued, that I said anything about anything being in secret. I felt that on paper it looked good. I admit that. I thought it looked great on paper.
I know that, but you weren't reading
But
from that.
I saw the ripple effects in terms of some of the emails we received from someone in the Girl Scouts, from members of the Sports Foundation. People reached out to me, and that is why I made a decision at that time, and I reflected on it, and now I feel differently. But I definitely understand the other perspective, and I think it also raises very valid points. I do have a question that when Dr. Garibay comes back, which I'll just wait till she comes back. I don't know if we could do something else.
Yeah, that's right. I'll just go over
she's here.
really
Okay.
quick. Just for the sake of a protocol, just going forward, I did put an email out today, just for standard procedures. I know we got some co-chairs, we got some co-liaisons. I just want to make everybody know, when you guys are in meetings, make sure your partner's there with you. I signed you both so you could work together. So make sure you're on the same page, working together. And I noticed a few times that people are calling Dr. Garibay asking for things to be put on the schedule. I really don't appreciate that. What I'd like you to do is go through, if there's an issue, obviously we always want to put it on a cow, but go through the chain of command. If it has something to do with the Sports Foundation, direct your concern to them, and they're the liaison to bring it to me. If you're finance and Jason's finance, if you have a problem and you want something put on the schedule, it's not appropriate to go to Dr. Garibay, I want this on the schedule. Go to the chair of that committee, and that's how it should be done, okay? I don't want everybody skipping to Dr. Garibay demanding I want this and that. That's not how I'm going to run the board going forward. So I'll leave you to your comments.
So Dr. Garibay, I just have a question. This is it kind of bounces on what Angelique just said about governance. I thought and I had not led a meeting, like a curriculum committee, that the committee chairs, and correct me, that's why I'm asking you, if I'm wrong, we're supposed to get some kind of schedule or some kind of outline about what is being on the agenda, like how, Vinny was just asking, like, what happened. So I was just wondering, like, so you said there was a meeting last Thursday, February 3rd and February 4th, like, going forward, should we be getting these outlines, or am I incorrect with, like, an agenda from the chair?
So if I
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is a little bit of like a feedback, because that would have been the norm working under a board of committees. We don't. We
Right.
work on, so we're running a hybrid, if I'm being completely honest. And our school boards were here, we're running a hybrid, which is not officially a committee of a whole, because we are working in ad hoc committees. And under the prior structure of a board of committees, you would get an agenda of the committee meeting. People would be able to, you would get advanced agendas of the meeting. You would have an opportunity to kind of add things and be like, hey, can we talk about this? Then there would be minutes from the meeting, and then those minutes would be reported out at the business meetings of the board, which happen twice a month. Now, I know there were conversations about going to one board meeting a month, and that's not possible without committees, because then you're never meeting as a board. That actually was the catalyst for the superintendent's update. When we made the switch to go to a committee of a whole, I think prior to, I'm trying to think in term-wise, when we made the switch to go to committee of a whole, because we didn't have committee meetings, which added a little bit more opportunity for committees and talking about and conversations of that scheduling board, we went to the update to make sure that we were providing both current and residual information, so that the whole board now that was responsible for conversations on all topics were fully aware. That's why we kind of structured, Mr. Marasco and I structured the update by committee a little bit, where it's like curriculum, general, communicate type of thing, so that everyone has an idea as to what's happening at the administrative level and or board level, like there was a meeting on this day. So we're running a hybrid of committee of a whole and board of committees. We really are. So I think maybe that if we like the conversation of everyone's involvement, that can still happen under a board of committees if we want more structure, like in terms of what the roles of the committee chairs are, the agendas, and being able to report and share out. We can certainly do that.
The reason I'll add something to that is, I like the committee of a whole structure, because it did away with a lot of those meetings.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
correct.
in this time, we had the conflict
That's
with the
correct.
Sports Foundation, so it caused us to have 3 meetings alone. If we didn't have that, the Cal meeting works very well, but that's why I structured it where I named people
chair.
in case we have to break out, like negotiations, we can't do that in public. Finance, we can't do certain things. So, I don't know, I mean, I believe we are working as a hybrid, and if that's how we have to do it in the interim while these heated things are going on, I have no problem with it, but I certainly don't want to go back to a committee where we're breaking out, I mean, nobody's going to want to do that. I'm telling you right now, you guys are going to have a fit when.
Yeah,
And
no,
you're
I
not
don't
right.
do that. No, I love the committee of the
No,
whole.
but-
I love this. I
Yeah.
love
I like
that
you,
there's
too.
dialogue. I love that there's back and forth. I like that there's different opinions. And even though I spoke from my heart, I love when Kevin spoke and said, but out of this came this wonderful
Absolutely.
dialogue, and Rob mentioned it. And so I think this is transparency, as Brian said. So no, I think this was a very productive conversation. I still feel everything I said was from my heart, and I stand by my words. But I also appreciate what came out of what I feel was a mistake from me. But again, sometimes out of mistakes, wonderful things happen. And now that we're going to be meeting, I think you said monthly or quarterly with
Yeah,
the
I was
Sports
gonna say, we
Foundation.
haven't- I think
mean,
quarterly.
that's phenomenal. I mean, I guess we never thought, Vinny, as ad hoc, we never thought to do that. But that's a wonderful addition.
Well, it's just a way to, elaborate the relationship, to make it more elaborate, to make it more detailed, keeping them, close by, what they need. Every week they may need different requests for our gyms. So meeting them quarterly, we bring that out in the open, and they're not just coming here, renting, paying a bill. There's more like of a formality and more, like a one-on-one. I think it worked out. I really do. So,
Did I answer your question? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I was wondering, because I was, sometimes I read up on the school board site, and just recently, and because it is, there's some areas are a little gray. It's not always so crystal clear.
yes, that is true.
Especially, what Angelique was referencing before with curriculum. It's not always so just
Black
cut
and
and
white,
paste.
I
This is
know.
your role, and this is your role. So, yes, I appreciate that.
All right, I think we're done. Anybody else last minute?
I just have one more quick thing. If you're able to address this,
Yeah.
last week on social media, there were some inaccuracies that led to incorrect assumptions on how we use our board lawyer, particularly when one of our members are hit with an ethics violation
Okay.
and defending that. I don't know if you saw that, if you're able to
I
speak.
don't know particularly what you're talking about, but if you
Okay.
want to, if you could briefly
Okay,
school me on it, yeah.
if one of our members, it was going around, if one of our members is hit with an ethics violation, they should use their own personal attorney instead of our board attorney, as it
Okay.
is in terms of board ethics violations that are brought to one of our members.
Okay.
Are they supposed to use their own personal attorney? Or
No,
Exactly.
we have a board attorney that
Exactly.
we actually voted on
Exactly.
to represent, and that's part of doing business. I have an ethics violation. I do not hide it. The guy who gave me this ethics violation has been nothing but a pain in the ass to districts across this entire state. And the thing he thrives on is frivolous charges. He's upset because I called him a shit show, and that's what he is. He's a shit show. And he was insulted about it, and now he's going to throw an ethics charge and charge the district. I'm not charging it. That's my freedom of speech. He's the one that came after me in an article. I had nothing to do with this guy. I knew who he is because he's given problems to districts across the state, but I had no problem with this guy until he came after me in an article regarding our parental rights policy that we passed. Who the hell do people think they are? We were voted, all 9 of us, conservatives in this district, to pass policies that this community wanted. How dare he make an article, accusations about me being a far-right extremist? Give me a break. So now I respond to it, and he slaps an ethics charge. listen, I don't care. Whatever the cost is, I'll be divulging it to the community. And next time I get an ethics violation, which I'm sure he's going to do another one, because this is what this guy does. And whoever supports him is stealing money out of our kids' pockets. Because I don't act unethically. I don't steal. I'm principled. I live by my word. Whatever I say out in the open, and I don't hide. Dr. Garibay knows how I run this board, and I run it ethically. I have the right, a First Amendment right, to make comments responding to his accusations against me. So if anybody wants to put on social media about the money that I'm spending on ethics violations, I'm not the one filing it against this board. He is, okay? He is a far-left extremist arguing about how I govern here. And I'm not going to put up with it. I'm just not. And for the record, the next ethics charge that this guy puts, I have a lawyer who's going to represent me, and I have a few lawyers lined up that won't cost the district anything. So let him try it, okay? I'm sick and tired of being pushed in a corner because I got an ethics violation. I'm sorry that people are pissed off about it, but I have the right to say what I want, and I'm going to defend this district the way I want to. We were voted. I'm not going to back down. Why should I silence myself because he wants me to? That's what he's trying to do, silence this board. I'm not going to let it happen. I won't let it happen. So I don't care who, the public wants to complain about an ethics violation, give me a break. Give me a break. And whoever, wants to put it on there, Mrs. Denoya, I believe you have a lot to do with that. Put it on there. You have all the respect for me to put it out there. But if you're going to rile up the community, get the facts. Get the facts. If you know the facts. I got an ethics violation, put it out there. Rob Scales got an ethics violation. I mean, you want to egg people on to cost more money to the district? I mean, go ahead. I have no problem with it. But like I said, the money comes out of our kids' pockets.
We are elected for a conservative board, and we're not going to be intimidated by anybody.
You can intimidate us. I'm not intimidated, but you're the one, I believe, that posted that. Weren't you the one that posted that?
My statement is for the whole community that elected us. We're not going to be intimidated by anybody. We're going to govern by conservative values, and that's the end of it.
But yeah, this whole thing, I didn't know the one you were talking about, but the one you put on there about, look at this, and that's fine, that's your prerogative. But when you egg the community, let them know exactly what it was about. Let them know, be truthful, put it out there. Don't start a shitstorm, and then when we get the ethics violations, put it out there, we're getting ethics violations.
So to answer your question, Mr. Rickmetta.
Thank you.
Yeah, to answer your question, yeah, the board attorney is elected for us, so unfortunately what happens is as a public entity, we can't countersue for things, but what happens is to protect like us as an entity, to protect the school ethics committee, things of that nature, there's a $500 fine if there's a frivolous claim. So what'll happen is if someone does wind up submitting an ethics charge that winds up deemed being like frivolous or something along those lines, then they are slapped with a $500 fine. I don't think it's ever actually been charged. It's supposed to prevent this from happening, but unfortunately what happens is you weaponize the ethics committee. You have to go through the process, but we put it on here to let the public know that we're being represented by the board attorney, but the details of the actual ethics, they must remain confidential until you actually, it's done, and then we can then finally comment on what was actually in the actual
Right, I need that.
ethics complaint.
I'm asking for the public so they know.
Yeah, so, cool.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinnie. for
Thank you
bringing
guys
that up.
for clarifying. Thank you.
Anybody? Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad you did too. So, like I said, any ethics charges that come in regarding me, I'll be the first one to divulge it to the community. Okay, anybody else, final comments? Okay, we're going to vote to adjourn.
Motion.
Aye.
Thank you. Yeah, nobody makes a fool of me.